Known as the Song of the Divine, the Bhagavad Gita is a timeless work of philosophy and spirituality that has influenced many people throughout history. This sacred conversation between Lord Krishna and the warrior prince Arjuna, which takes place on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, goes beyond the immediate combat and explores the most profound issues of life, responsibility, and the essence of reality. Fundamentally, the Gita is an in-depth examination of the human condition that provides direction on how to face life's challenges with discernment, bravery, and unflinching faith. It talks about the never-ending conflict between good and evil, light and darkness, and the desire for worldly prosperity over spiritual contentment. Krishna teaches the way to liberation, where the soul overcomes the constraints of the physical world and achieves unity with the Absolute through its teachings. The Gita is not just a scripture, it is a living dialogue that speaks directly to the heart and mind of every seeker. Whether it is the call to perform one's duties without attachment, the emphasis on the importance of devotion and surrender, or the revelation of the cosmic truths that govern the universe, the Bhagavad Gita offers a roadmap for achieving inner peace and ultimate realization. As we journey through its verses, we are invited to reflect on our own lives, our purpose, and our connection to the divine. The Gita teaches that true happiness and fulfillment are found not in the pursuit of external rewards, but in the cultivation of inner virtues, the understanding of our eternal nature, and the devotion to the higher self. In the words of Krishna, perform your duty with a mind focused on me, and you will attain the supreme. The Bhagavad Gita is more than a conversation between two individuals. It is a dialogue between the soul and the divine, a guide to living a life of righteousness, and a beacon of light in the journey toward spiritual awakening. Chapter 1. Arjuna's Dilemma, the Prelude to Dharma. In the sacred narrative of the Bhagavad Gita, the air is thick with anticipation on the vast plains of Kurukshetra. King Dhritarashtra, blind but desperate to understand the events unfolding, turns to his trusted charioteer Sanjay and inquires, "Sanjay, what is happening on the battlefield? Tell me of the events that are leading up to this great war." Sanjay, blessed with divine vision, begins to recount the tense and fateful moments. "O king," Sanjay begins, "the battlefield is alive with the energy of countless warriors, their hearts pounding with the weight of the impending battle. Duryodhan, the Kaurava prince, surveys the opposing Pandava army. His eyes scan their ranks, and he sees the might of his adversaries, Bhima, with his incredible strength, Arjuna, the unmatched archer, Yudhamanyu and Uttamauja, the steadfast protectors, and Abhimanyu, the young warrior whose valor outshines his years." With a voice full of respect and worry, Duryodhan turns to face his teacher, Dronakarya, and declares, "Acharya, look at this powerful Pandava army led by your knowledgeable disciple, Dhrishtadyumna. Their fighters are many and powerful. However, I find solace in our own champions. We have the renowned Karna, the powerful Bhishma, you and other people like Ashwathama, Vikan, and Kripa. We will defeat them together and come out on top." The ever-calm Dronakarya nods in accord. He answers, "Yes, Duryodhana, our warriors are very strong. Let's have faith in their fortitude and the morality of our cause." The anxiety peaks as the armies get ready for war. The crack of conch shells announces the opening of hostilities. As thousands of soldiers, chariots, and horses take their positions, the ground trembles. Arjuna, the brave prince of the Pandavas, turns to Krishna, his celestial charioteer, amid this tense atmosphere. "Krishna," Arjuna says, his voice steady but filled with a deep curiosity, "take our chariot to the center of the battlefield. I wish to see those who have come to fight against us, those with whom I must contend in this great war." Krishna, smiling gently, replies, "As you wish, Arjuna." With a skillful hand, he guides the chariot between the two armies, bringing it to a halt at the very heart of the battlefield. As they come to a stop, Arjuna scans the field, his eyes falling on the faces of the warriors arrayed before him. He sees many familiar faces, his cousins, uncles, teachers, and friends, standing ready to fight. The sight stirs a deep conflict within him, and his heart grows heavy with doubt. "Krishna," Arjuna speaks again, his voice now tinged with sorrow. "How can I fight against these men? They are my kin, my revered elders, and my beloved friends. How can I raise my weapon against them? My very soul recoils at the thought of shedding their blood." Krishna, his voice calm yet imbued with wisdom, replies, "Arjun, behold the Kurus gathered here. They stand ready to fight, as do you. But remember, this is not just a battle of flesh and blood. This is a battle of dharma, of righteousness. Your duty as a warrior is to fight for what is just, even if it means facing those you hold dear. The soul is eternal and cannot be slain. Arise, Arjun, and fulfill your destiny." Arjun listens, torn between his duty as a warrior and his love for those arrayed against him. The stage is set for a profound dialogue between the mortal and the divine, where Krishna will soon reveal the timeless wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita, guiding Arjun, and through him, all of humanity, toward the path of righteousness and spiritual enlightenment. Chapter 2. Arjun's Crisis, the Descent into Despair and the Call to Duty. In the sacred narrative of the Bhagavad Gita, the battlefield of Kurukshetra is not just a stage for a physical war, but also the setting for a profound inner conflict within the heart of the warrior prince, Arjun. As he gazes across the field, his eyes fall upon the faces of those who stand in opposition, his own kinsmen, revered teachers, beloved uncles, fathers, sons and brothers, all ready to engage in a deadly battle. The sight overwhelms Arjun, filling his heart with deep sorrow and compassion. "Krishna," Arjun says, his voice trembling with emotion, "how can I fight in this battle? How can I raise my bow against Bhishma, Drona, and all those who have been my guides, my elders, and my loved ones? They are my family, my blood. What joy could victory bring me if it is stained with the blood of those I hold dear?" Arjun's hands begin to shake as he speaks, and his body grows weak. His mind is clouded with despair as he continues, "I do not desire victory, nor do I care for the kingdom or the pleasures it brings. What good is a kingdom if it comes at the cost of the lives of my kin? I see only suffering and misfortune in this war, the destruction of family traditions, the immorality that would follow, and the birth of unwanted children. All of these terrify me. How can we, who understand the consequences, commit such a grievous sin?" He pauses, his eyes filled with tears, and then he speaks again, this time with a tone of deep resignation. "Krishna, it would be better for me to lay down my arms and let my enemies kill me unresisting. I would rather die than commit such a horrific deed. My heart is heavy, and my mind is in turmoil. I cannot bear this burden." With these words, Arjun, the mighty warrior, casts aside his bow and arrows. His once steely resolve crumbles, and he sinks into his chariot seat, overwhelmed by the weight of his emotions. Krishna, the charioteer and divine guide, observes Arjun's distress with compassion, yet his voice is firm as he addresses his friend. "Arjun," Krishna says, "this sorrow and weakness that have overcome you are unworthy of a warrior of your stature. These feelings are not befitting a prince, a protector of dharma. Where is your courage? Where is your resolve? This unmanliness does not suit you. It will only bring you dishonor and disgrace." Arjun, still bowed by the weight of his emotions, looks at Krishna, his eyes searching for solace. "But Krishna, how can I fight against those who have raised me, taught me, and loved me? How can I bring myself to kill them, even if it is my duty?" Krishna's gaze softens, and his voice becomes both gentle and commanding. "Arjun, your sorrow is born of illusion, a misunderstanding of the true nature of life and death. You are concerned with the body, but the soul, which is eternal, can neither be killed nor harmed. This battle is not just about kingdoms or power. It is a fight for dharma, for righteousness. You must rise above these emotions and fulfill your duty as a warrior. The path of dharma is not easy, but it is the path you must walk." Arjun listens, his heart still heavy, but Krishna's words begin to pierce through the fog of his despair. The seeds of doubt remain, but within him, a new understanding is beginning to take root. Krishna continues, his voice steady and unwavering. Do not yield to this weakness, Arjuna. Stand up and fight. This is your duty, your sacred obligation as a warrior. The time has come for you to arise and fulfill your destiny. As Krishna's words echo in the silence that follows, Arjuna remains seated, struggling with the turmoil within him. This moment marks the beginning of a profound dialogue between the divine and the mortal, where the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita will soon unfold, guiding Arjuna and all of humanity toward the path of truth, duty, and spiritual enlightenment. Chapter 3. The Eternal Soul. Krishna's revelation to Arjuna. In the epic narrative of the Bhagavad Gita, the scene shifts to a poignant moment on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Arjuna, the mighty warrior and prince, stands tormented by inner conflict as he faces the grim reality of the impending war. His heart is weighed down by the thought of battling those he holds dear, especially his revered teachers, Bhishma and Dronacharya, who have guided him throughout his life. Krishna, Arjuna begins, his voice filled with anguish, how can I fight against Bhishma and Dronacharya, who have been like fathers to me? They have showered me with love, wisdom, and all the wealth and pleasures I have known. If I kill them in battle, what kind of victory would that be? How could I ever find joy in a kingdom won through the blood of those I revere? Arjuna's hands tremble as he continues, even if I were to gain the most glorious of kingdoms, even if I were to conquer the earth and the heavens, it would mean nothing to me if it comes at the cost of my loved ones. My heart is gripped by sorrow, and I see no way to dispel this grief, no matter the outcome of this war. As Arjuna's despair deepens, Krishna, his charioteer and divine guide, listens with a compassionate yet resolute demeanor. He recognizes the depth of Arjuna's confusion and the pain that clouds his judgment. Arjuna, Krishna begins, his voice calm and steady. You speak of grief for those who are dear to you, but your sorrow stems from a misunderstanding of the true nature of life and death. You are a warrior, and it is your duty to fight for righteousness, for dharma. Yet you allow your emotions to cloud your understanding. Krishna pauses, allowing his words to sink in, and then continues. Arjuna, the soul is eternal. It is neither born nor does it die. The soul cannot be killed, nor does it kill. What you see as death is merely the soul casting off an old worn-out body, only to take on a new one, like changing clothes. The body may perish, but the soul remains unbreakable, unchangeable, and imperishable. Arjuna listens, his eyes searching Krishna's face for the truth behind these words. Krishna's voice grows more emphatic as he imparts this wisdom. Understand this, Arjuna. The soul is not affected by the physical changes of the body. It is beyond the reach of fire, water, wind, or any other force. It is eternal, all-pervading, stable, and immovable. Therefore, there is no reason to grieve for the body, which is perishable and temporary. Krishna's words begin to pierce through the fog of Arjuna's despair, but the warrior still struggles with the emotions that grip his heart. But Krishna, Arjuna asks, his voice still filled with doubt, how can I find peace when I know that I must face my own kin in battle? How can I reconcile my duty with the love I have for them? Krishna looks deeply into Arjuna's eyes, offering both comfort and guidance. Arjuna, you must learn to tolerate the temporary sensations of happiness and distress, for they are like the seasons. They come and go. You must remain steady in both, understanding that the soul transcends all such dualities. The soul's journey is eternal, and it moves through these experiences without being tainted by them. Arjuna, do not let your emotions rule you, Krishna continues. Your duty as a warrior is to fight for the cause of dharma. The destruction of the body is inevitable for all beings, but the soul remains untouched. Therefore rise above your sorrow and do not grieve for those who are beyond death. As Krishna's words resonate within him, Arjuna begins to feel a shift within his heart. The weight of his sorrow is still present, but Krishna's teachings offer him a glimpse of a greater truth, a truth that transcends the physical world and touches the eternal essence of the soul. The journey of understanding has only begun, and Arjuna stands at the threshold of a profound spiritual awakening. Chapter 4. The Path of Buddhi Yoga, Action Without Attachment. In the unfolding dialogue of the Bhagavad Gita, The profound teachings of Krishna continue to shape the mind and heart of Arjuna, the warrior prince torn between his duty and his emotions. The battlefield of Kurukshetra, where armies stand poised for a deadly conflict, becomes the backdrop for a deeper spiritual conversation, one that transcends the physical war and touches the eternal truths of existence. Arjuna, still grappling with the moral dilemma of fighting against his own kin, listens intently as Krishna speaks, his divine voice filled with both compassion and authority. Arjuna, Krishna begins, you grieve for those who should not be grieved for. You speak of life and death, but you do not yet understand the true nature of the soul. The soul is eternal, immortal, and beyond the reach of death. It is unmanifest before birth, manifest in this life, and unmanifest again after death. Why then should you mourn the inevitable? Arjuna's eyes widen with the weight of these words, but the conflict within him remains. Krishna, I understand what you say, but how can I bring myself to fight this war? It feels as though I am betraying everything I hold dear. Krishna's gaze softens, but his voice remains resolute. Arjuna, as a kshatriya, a warrior, it is your duty to uphold righteousness, to protect dharma. If you refuse to fight, you not only abandon your duty, but also invite infamy upon yourself. Imagine the dishonor that would fall upon you, the greatest of warriors, if you were to turn away from this battle. Your enemies would mock you, and your reputation would be tarnished forever. Krishna pauses, letting the gravity of his words sink in before continuing. But if you fight, Arjuna, and fulfill your duty, you stand to gain everything. Should you fall in battle, you will attain the celestial abodes, a place of honor among the gods. If you emerge victorious, you will enjoy the earth's riches and rule with justice. Either way, by performing your duty, you will rise above the fears and doubts that now cloud your mind. Arjuna, still struggling with his emotions, looks to Krishna for further guidance. Krishna, you speak of duty and honor, but my heart remains troubled. How can I reconcile these earthly concerns with the spiritual truths you are revealing to me? Krishna, sensing the depth of Arjuna's turmoil, introduces a higher teaching, a path that transcends the conflict between worldly duty and spiritual wisdom. Arjuna, he says, listen carefully to what I am about to tell you. This is the path of Buddhi Yoga, the yoga of intellect. It is a way of living that frees you from the bondage of karma, the cycle of action and reaction. When you perform your duty with a steady mind, without attachment to the outcomes, whether success or failure, you rise above the dualities of this world. This is the essence of yoga, to act with purpose, but without attachment, to remain steadfast in your duty, yet free from the desires and fears that bind others. Arjuna's expression begins to change as he absorbs Krishna's words. Krishna, you speak of a way of living that seems beyond my understanding. How can I follow this path in a world filled with temptations and distractions? Krishna's voice becomes both gentle and firm. Arjuna, those with limited understanding are often distracted by the allure of worldly pleasures and the pomp of ostentatious rituals. They become entangled in the pursuit of material gains and forget the true purpose of life. But you must rise above this. Strive for pure spiritual consciousness, where your actions are guided by wisdom and not by the desire for reward. By doing so, you will attain true peace and fulfillment. Arjuna, feeling the weight of Krishna's words lift the veil of confusion from his mind, asks, So Krishna, you are saying that I should act, but without attachment to the fruits of my actions, that I should be steady in my duty, regardless of success or failure. Krishna nods, his eyes filled with the light of divine wisdom. Yes, Arjuna. Abandon attachment, but not action. Perform your duty with a pure heart, and do not be swayed by the outcomes. This is the path of yoga, the path that leads to liberation. By following this path, you will not only fulfill your responsibilities in this life, but also attain a state of spiritual freedom that is beyond the reach of karma. Arjuna, now filled with a renewed sense of purpose, looks to Krishna with a deeper understanding. The teachings of the Bhagavad Gita have begun to illuminate the path before him, offering a way to reconcile his worldly duties with the eternal truths of the soul. Chapter 5. The Path to Divine Consciousness, Mastery of the Senses and the Attainment of Peace. In the sacred dialogue of the Bhagavad Gita, the profound exchange between Arjuna and Krishna continues to delve into the deepest aspects of spiritual wisdom. Arjuna, the warrior prince, finds himself in the midst of a great inner turmoil, seeking enlightenment and clarity. His heart yearns to understand the nature of one who is truly established in divine consciousness, one who has transcended the material world and attained the ultimate peace. Krishna, Arjuna begins, his voice filled with earnest curiosity. You have spoken of the eternal soul and the path of duty. But tell me, what is the disposition of one who is firmly situated in divine consciousness? How does such a person live and move in this world? How do they find peace in a world full of turmoil and distractions? Krishna, the Supreme Lord, looks at Arjuna with infinite compassion, his voice resonating with the wisdom of the ages. Arjuna, he begins, a person who is truly established in divine consciousness has discarded all selfish desires and cravings of the senses. They are not swayed by the allure of worldly pleasures, nor are they disturbed by the pains and miseries of life. Such a person is free from attachment, fear, and anger. They remain serene and undisturbed, no matter what challenges life presents. Arjuna listens intently, his mind absorbing Krishna's words as if they were a balm to his troubled soul. Krishna continues, "This state of perfect knowledge is not easily attained, Arjuna. The senses are strong and turbulent, pulling the mind in many directions. It is a constant struggle to keep them under control. But the one who can subdue their senses, who can withdraw them from their objects like a tortoise withdrawing its limbs, is truly wise. Such a person can focus their mind entirely on God and attain perfect peace." But Krishna, Arjuna interjects, his brow furrowed in thought, the senses are so powerful and the mind so restless. How can one truly control them? How can a person overcome these forces and attain this state of perfect knowledge? Krishna's gaze remains steady, filled with both understanding and resolve. Arjuna, it is true that the senses are difficult to control, but it is not impossible. Those who are disciplined, who practice constant vigilance and focus their minds on the Supreme, can gradually bring their senses under control. It requires dedication, practice, and unwavering faith. Krishna's words flow like a river of wisdom, guiding Arjuna towards a deeper understanding. Arjuna, he continues, the undisciplined person who allows their mind and senses to roam unchecked cannot attain peace. Their mind is restless, and they are always chasing after fleeting pleasures. Such a person lives in turmoil, never knowing the true serenity that comes from divine consciousness. But the wise, those who have subdued their senses and fixed their mind on the Supreme, see the world differently. What all beings consider as day, the pursuits of the material world, is night to the wise. And what all creatures see as night, the calm, detached state of divine awareness, is day to the enlightened. Arjuna, his eyes reflecting a growing sense of clarity, asks, Krishna, what must one do to attain this perfect peace? How does one live in such a way that they are free from the clutches of greed, egoism, and desire? Krishna's voice takes on a tone of gentle encouragement. Arjuna, the one who gives up all material desires, who lives without a sense of greed, proprietorship, or egoism, attains perfect peace. Such a person does not seek to possess or control, nor are they driven by selfish motives. They are content within themselves, finding joy in the spiritual connection with the Supreme. When a person reaches this state, they are no longer troubled by the dualities of life, pleasure and pain, gain and loss, success and failure. They live in the eternal now, fully absorbed in the divine, and thus they attain the ultimate peace that transcends all understanding. As Krishna's words settle over the battlefield like a soothing breeze, Arjuna feels a profound shift within him. The teachings of the Bhagavad Gita have begun to unravel the knots of confusion and sorrow in his heart, leading him toward a state of inner peace and divine understanding. Chapter 6. The Harmony of Knowledge and Action, the Path of Karma Yoga. In the deep discourse of the Bhagavad Gita, the warrior Prince Arjuna gets entangled in a maze of paradoxes. Deep questions concerning the nature of knowledge, action, and their roles on the path to enlightenment have been sparked in him by Krishna's teachings. "Krishna," Arjuna stammers out of his chest, "you have talked to me about the value of knowledge, the wisdom of the soul, and yet you also stress the need for action. I'm perplexed right now. How is the same objective reached by both routes? Is it not paradoxical to advocate for action while simultaneously seeking knowledge? Please enlighten me on this seeming paradox." With a smile of sympathy, the Supreme Lord Krishna looks down upon Arjuna, realizing how confused his disciple really is. "Arjuna," he says in an articulate opening, "the path of knowledge and the path of action are not mutually exclusive. Both are necessary on the path to enlightenment. A person cannot arrive at the ultimate truth by choosing only one of these routes, just as a bird cannot fly with only one wing. They are two sides of the same coin that enhance and support one another." Arjuna listens closely, his mind eager to grasp the wisdom Krishna is about to impart. Krishna continues, "Understand this, Arjuna. All beings are compelled to act, whether they realize it or not. Action is inherent in life. Even the wise, who have attained knowledge, continue to act in this world. But they do so without attachment, without the desire for personal gain. Their actions are performed as a sacrifice to the divine, as an offering to God. This is the essence of karma yoga, the yoga of action." Arjuna, still pondering Krishna's words, asks, "But Krishna, if knowledge is the higher path, why must we engage in action at all? Why not renounce the world and focus solely on the pursuit of wisdom?" Krishna's eyes shine with the light of divine truth as he responds, "Arjuna, renunciation of action is not the same as renunciation of desires. True renunciation is the abandonment of attachment to the fruits of action, not the action itself. The world is sustained through action. The rain falls, the crops grow, and life flourishes because of the cycle of sacrifice. When people perform their prescribed duties with the right attitude, without attachment, they contribute to this cycle, ensuring the prosperity and balance of all creation." Krishna's words paint a vivid picture of the interconnectedness of life. The performance of duties, he explains, leads to the production of food, which sustains life. The rains that nourish the earth are a result of the sacrifices offered by living beings. In turn, these sacrifices satisfy the celestial gods, who then bless the earth with abundance. This is the divine cycle of sacrifice, and all are bound to participate in it. Those who refuse to recognize their responsibility in this cycle, who fail to perform their duties, are considered sinful, for they disrupt the harmony of the world. Arjuna's eyes widen as he begins to see the bigger picture. "So, Krishna, you are saying that even those who seek knowledge must engage in action, but they must do so without selfish motives, as a service to the world and the divine." Krishna nods, his expression filled with approval. "Exactly, Arjuna. The self-realized souls, those who have attained true knowledge, have no duties to discharge because they are already free from the bondage of karma. But even they continue to act in this world, setting an example for others. They do so without attachment, without desire, and thus they remain untouched by the consequences of their actions. For those still on the path, however, action performed without attachment is the means to purify the mind, to gradually transcend desires, and to realize the truth." Arjuna's heart, once clouded with confusion, now begins to clear as he understands the harmony between knowledge and action. He realizes that both paths are necessary and that they are not in opposition, but rather they lead to the same goal, liberation and union with the divine. Krishna, sensing Arjuna's growing comprehension, speaks with a tone of gentle encouragement. "Arjuna, do not seek to escape your duty. Embrace it with a pure heart and perform it as an offering to the divine. In this way, you will fulfill your role in the cosmic order, and through your actions, you will also progress on the path of knowledge. This is the true meaning of sacrifice, the true path to enlightenment." As Krishna's words resonate within him, Arjuna feels a new sense of purpose and direction. The teachings of the Bhagavad Gita have illuminated the path forward, guiding him to embrace both action and knowledge as essential elements of his spiritual journey. Chapter 7. The Power of Detached Duty, Conquering Desire and Understanding the Modes of Nature. In the ongoing discourse of the Bhagavad Gita, the battlefield of Kurukshetra serves as a backdrop for a conversation that transcends the physical realm. Arjuna, the warrior prince, continues to grapple with the complexities of duty, action, and the true nature of the self. Krishna, the Supreme Lord and charioteer, offers Arjuna profound wisdom to guide him through his inner turmoil. "Krishna," Arjuna begins, his voice tinged with uncertainty, "you have spoken of the importance of performing one's duties without attachment to the outcomes. But how can one act without being swayed by the desire for success or the fear of failure? It seems impossible to separate the action from its results." Krishna, who is always kind and patient, gives a small smile. "Arjuna," he responds, "is the way to ultimate freedom, even though it is a hardship." The astute recognize that the secret to emancipation is to carry out tasks with objectivity. Think about King Janak and other great souls. They reached perfection by doing their assigned tasks diligently and without regard for the results. They carried out their duties and upheld the dharma not for their own benefit. With a keen interest in understanding the importance of Krishna's lessons, Arjuna pays close attention. Krishna goes on, "Arjuna, even I have responsibilities in this world, even though I am the Lord of all creation. Even though I have nothing to gain, I take action because if I didn't, others would imitate me and mayhem would ensue. I would be the one bringing about the chaos and the world's collapse. I thus carry out my responsibilities in order to lead by example and direct others toward virtue." Arjuna nods, beginning to understand the deeper meaning behind Krishna's actions. But still, questions linger in his mind. "Krishna, if the wise should perform their duties without attachment, what about those who are ignorant? Should we not stop them from acting out of delusion?" Krishna's expression grows serious as he responds, "Arjuna, it is important not to create confusion in the minds of those who are still bound by ignorance. They must continue to perform their duties according to their nature, even if they do so with attachment. The wise should inspire them by example, guiding them toward enlightened action without unsettling them. Each person must be encouraged to perform their duties according to their own understanding, gradually awakening to higher knowledge." Krishna then shifts the conversation to a more profound topic: the three modes of material nature, which bind the soul to the physical world. "Arjuna," he explains, "all actions in this world are influenced by the three modes of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. These modes delude the soul into thinking it is the doer of actions, but in truth, the soul is merely a witness, distinct from the senses and actions. The wise can see this distinction, but they do not unsettle those who are still under the influence of the modes. Instead, they guide them gently, helping them rise above these influences." Arjuna's brow furrows as he processes Krishna's words. "Krishna, if the soul is distinct from actions and the senses, how can one perform duties in a way that leads to liberation?" Krishna's eyes shine with divine light as he answers, "Arjuna, perform all your duties as an offering to me, without any desire for personal gain. By doing so, you free yourself from the bondage of karma and the cycle of birth and death. This is the path to liberation, acting without selfishness, with your mind fixed on the divine. Remember, even the wise act according to their nature. It is better to follow your own dharma, even imperfectly, than to imitate another's perfectly. Each person's duty is shaped by their inherent nature, and fulfillment comes from living true to that nature." Arjuna, now beginning to grasp the essence of Krishna's teachings, asks one final question. "Krishna, why is it that even those who know what is right are often driven to commit sinful acts? What force compels them to stray from the path of righteousness?" Krishna's expression becomes more serious as he addresses this crucial question. "Arjuna, it is lust, born of the mode of passion, that drives people to commit sinful acts. Lust is an insatiable desire that clouds the mind and intellect, leading to anger and delusion when it is unfulfilled. It is an all-devouring enemy, shrouding one's knowledge and leading them astray. The senses, mind, and intellect are the breeding grounds of this desire. Therefore, you must learn to control these impulses, for only by mastering your desires can you overcome this enemy and attain true wisdom. Krishna's words resonate deeply within Arjuna, illuminating the path before him. He begins to see the importance of performing his duties without attachment, understanding the role of the three modes of material nature, and recognizing the need to conquer desire to achieve peace and liberation. Chapter 8. Divine Manifestation and the Path to Liberation. Krishna's Revelation to Arjuna. In the timeless dialogue of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna continues to seek understanding from Krishna, who now begins to unveil the profound mysteries of existence, action, and the divine. As the battle of Kurukshetra looms, Krishna reveals deeper truths that transcend the immediate conflict, guiding Arjuna and all who listen toward a higher plane of consciousness. Krishna, Arjuna asks, his voice filled with a mixture of reverence and curiosity. You speak of Yog, the ancient path of union with the divine. But how did this knowledge come into being, and why are you revealing it to me now? Krishna, his voice resonating with the wisdom of the ages, responds, Arjuna, this knowledge of Yog is eternal. I first imparted it to the sun god, Vivasvan, who then passed it on to Manu, the progenitor of mankind. Over the ages, this sacred knowledge was handed down through a chain of wise kings, but over time, it was lost to the world. Now I reveal it to you because you are my devoted friend and disciple, and because you are worthy of understanding this great secret. Arjuna, puzzled yet intrigued, asks, But Krishna, how is it possible that you, who stand before me now, gave this knowledge to the sun god so many ages ago? I do not understand how this could be. Krishna gives a soft grin, boundless compassion shining in his eyes. Arjuna, you and I have experienced numerous births together. You do not recall them all, but I do. Every time there is a fall in righteousness and an increase in wickedness, I, the Lord of all beings, who am unborn and eternal, manifest in this world by my divine power, Maya. I show up age after age to defend the righteous, vanquish the evil, and build dharma. The enormity of Krishna's disclosure starts to register in Arjuna's eyes. You come to earth to uphold virtue and bring about balance? But what about others who don't recognize your heavenly essence? What happens to them? Arjuna, those who understand my divine birth and actions, who recognize me as the supreme being, are freed from the cycle of birth and death. Krishna responds in a tone of solemn authority. They arrive to my ultimate home rather than going back to this world of pain. Saints, sages, and kings who have submitted to me and cleansed themselves via devotion and wisdom have trodden this path before you, Arjuna. Awestruck, Arjuna wonders, Krishna, how can one get this liberation? What steps are necessary to escape the confines of a material existence? In response, Krishna offers a deep lesson on the nature of action. Arjuna, you need to know the distinction between doing the wrong thing, doing nothing, and staying still. The right action is one that is carried out without regard for the outcome and in accordance with dharma. An action that is motivated by self-interest and has unfavorable effects is wrong. But being inactive does not mean not doing anything. Rather, it means making the deliberate decision to abstain from self-serving behavior, because you know that real wisdom comes from behaving objectively and in accordance with God's plan. Krishna stops to give Arjuna a chance to process the seriousness of what he's spoken, then continues, The higher self, the strength of the soul, must subdue the lower self, which is made up of the senses, mind, and intellect, in order to release oneself from material bondage. This calls for self-control, alertness, and steadfast devotion. The biggest enemies of the soul are want and lust, which are products of interaction with the corporeal world. They cause suffering, impair judgment, and bond the soul to the cycle of life and death. As Arjuna listens carefully, his eyes widen to accept the more profound realities Krishna is exposing. Krishna, he queries, how can one defeat these strong powers of love and desire? How is it possible for the higher self to overcome the lower self? When providing direction, Krishna's voice is forceful but gentle at the same time. The secret, Arjuna, is to learn to master your senses. Just as a tortoise pulls its limbs inside its shell, so too must you pull your senses away from material things and maintain a spiritual perspective. Carry out your responsibilities, but do them as a service to me, devoid of any sense of reward or punishment. You will cleanse your heart and mind by turning everything you do toward the divine. This will help you to progressively rise above your lower self and reveal your higher self. Krishna goes on, even the wise must behave in accordance with their nature, but they do so devoid of self-interest. Being fully conscious that the true self is different from the actions of the body and mind, they function as instruments of the divine intent. One can live in the world, but stay unaffected by it, by keeping this consciousness, which releases them from the shackles of karma. As the stillness of the battlefield reverberates with Krishna's words, Arjuna has a newfound feeling of purpose and clarity. The Bhagavad Gita's lessons are more than just intellectual speculations. They are a manual for leading a life of virtuousness, restraint and devotion that ultimately results in the ultimate liberation of the soul. Chapter 9. The Wisdom of Detached Action, Sacrifice and the Power of Divine Knowledge. In the sacred dialogue of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna continues to illuminate the path of wisdom and righteousness for Arjuna. As the battle of Kurukshetra looms, the conversation shifts to the nature of action, sacrifice, and the transcendence of worldly attachments. Arjuna listens intently, eager to understand how one can live a life of purpose and purity, free from the entanglements of material existence. Krishna, Arjuna begins, his voice filled with curiosity and longing for clarity, you have spoken much about performing actions without attachment. But what does it truly mean to act without desire for the fruits of one's labor? How can one engage in the world yet remain untouched by its pleasures and pains? Krishna, his voice calm and filled with divine wisdom, responds, Arjuna, those who perform actions without attachment to material pleasures or the desire for their results are truly wise. They are masters of their actions, for they do not act out of selfish motives, but out of a sense of duty and devotion. Such individuals are free from expectations. They do not see themselves as the owners of their actions, and they are not bound by the outcomes. Their intellect is established in divine knowledge, and they view every action as a sacrifice to the Supreme. Arjuna, absorbing Krishna's words, asks, but Krishna, how can one maintain this state of mind? How can one act in the world, with all its temptations and challenges, and still remain detached? Krishna's eyes shine with compassion as he answers, Arjuna, the key lies in understanding that everything in this world is transient. The wise do not cling to temporary pleasures or fear temporary pains. They see all actions as offerings to the divine, whether it is a simple task or a great sacrifice. By dedicating all their actions to God, they free themselves from the bondage of karma and the cycle of birth and death. Krishna continues, his voice taking on a deeper, more contemplative tone. There are many forms of sacrifice, Arjuna. Some offer their senses, restraining them from their objects, while others offer their wealth, giving to those in need. Some perform austerities, disciplining their bodies and minds, while others sacrifice their very selves, surrendering their ego to the divine will. All these sacrifices, when performed with the right understanding, lead to purification and spiritual growth. Arjuna listens, his mind opening to the profound truth Krishna is revealing. Krishna, you speak of sacrifice as a means of purification. How important is knowledge in the performance of these sacrifices? Krishna's expression grows serious as he emphasizes the significance of knowledge. Arjuna, knowledge is the highest form of sacrifice. Those who perform sacrifices with the wisdom that all actions are ultimately meant to serve the divine are truly liberated. Such knowledge burns away the impurities of the heart and mind, freeing one from the karmic reactions that bind the soul to the cycle of rebirth. Even the most immoral sinners can cross the ocean of material existence by sitting in the boat of divine knowledge. Arjuna, moved by Krishna's words, asks, but Krishna, how does one attain this knowledge? How can a person burdened by the darkness of ignorance find the light of wisdom? Krishna's voice is both gentle and firm as he offers guidance. Arjuna, this knowledge can be attained through sincere devotion, self-discipline, and the guidance of a wise teacher. Approach those who have realized the truth with humility, ask them questions, and serve them with a pure heart. In this way, the knowledge will be revealed to you. When you see all beings as part of the divine, when you understand that the soul is eternal and beyond the reach of the material world, you will be freed from all illusions and fears. Krishna pauses, letting his words settle in the stillness of the moment, before continuing. Arjuna, those who have attained this wisdom see the divine in all things. They act without attachment, without selfishness, and without the desire for recognition. Their actions are like the wind passing through the sky, moving yet leaving no trace. By living in this way, they transcend the dualities of life and attain peace, joy, and liberation. As Krishna's teachings resonate within him, Arjuna feels a profound shift in his understanding. He begins to see the path before him not as a burden, but as a sacred duty, a means of serving the divine and purifying his soul. Chapter 10. The Path of Devotion in Action, Krishna's Guide to Karma Yoga. In the profound discourse of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna, still grappling with the complexities of his dharma, seeks further clarity from Krishna on the different paths to liberation. The battlefield of Kurukshetra, where this sacred conversation takes place, becomes a backdrop for the timeless questions of life, duty, and the pursuit of spiritual enlightenment. Krishna, Arjuna begins, his voice tinged with uncertainty. You have spoken of various paths, renunciation of action, which you call karma sannyas, and action performed in devotion, known as karma yoga. I find myself confused. Which path is superior? Should I renounce all actions to attain peace, or should I engage in action with devotion? Please guide me. Krishna, his voice calm and filled with divine wisdom, responds, Arjuna, both paths, karma sannyas and karma yoga, lead to the supreme goal of self-realization and liberation. However, of the two, karma yoga, the path of action in devotion, is more beneficial for most people. This path allows one to engage with the world while purifying the intellect and senses. Through the disciplined practice of karma yoga, one can attain self-realization without renouncing the duties of life. Arjuna listens intently, his confusion slowly giving way to understanding. But Krishna, he asks, how can one perform actions without becoming entangled in their results? Is it not natural to desire success and fear failure? Krishna smiles gently, understanding Arjuna's concerns. Arjuna, the key lies in performing actions without attachment to their fruits. Those who have attained divine knowledge, through faith and diligent practice, understand that the soul is eternal and beyond the physical realm. Such a person acts with the understanding that all actions are offerings to the Supreme. They are not swayed by success or failure, praise or blame. By offering the results of all actions to God, they remain free from the bondage of karma, untouched by sin. Krishna's words carry the weight of deep spiritual truth as he continues. However, those who lack faith and knowledge, who are attached to the outcomes of their actions, suffer a downfall. They become entangled in the cycle of desire and aversion, leading to misery in this world and the next. Without the guidance of divine wisdom, they find no lasting peace or happiness. Arjuna, now deeply reflective, asks, Krishna, how does one cultivate this faith and knowledge? How can I, who am still struggling with doubts, attain the state of a wise sage who sees the soul in every living being and remains untouched by sin? Krishna's gaze is filled with compassion as he offers Arjuna the guidance he seeks. Arjuna, faith and knowledge are cultivated through consistent practice, devotion, and the guidance of a spiritual teacher. Engage in your duties with the understanding that you are not the doer but a mere instrument of the divine will. By surrendering the results of your actions to God, you purify your heart and mind. This is the essence of karma yoga, acting without attachment, with a heart full of devotion and with the intention of self-purification. Krishna continues, his voice carrying the authority of divine truth. The sage who is adept in karma yoga sees the divine presence in every living being. They understand that the soul is the same in all, whether in the high or the low, the friend or the foe. Such a person remains unaffected by the dualities of life, pleasure and pain, success and failure, and is free from sin. They live in this world, but are not of it, for their actions are performed as offerings to the divine, and they are liberated from the cycle of birth and death. Arjuna, now feeling a sense of clarity and purpose, asks, Krishna, if I follow the path of Karma Yoga, performing my duties without attachment and offering the results to you, will I be able to overcome the doubts and fears that still linger in my heart? Krishna nods, his expression serene and reassuring. Yes, Arjuna. By embracing the path of Karma Yoga, you will purify your mind and intellect. Your doubts will be dispelled by the light of divine knowledge, and your heart will be filled with peace. Remember, the true renunciation is not the renunciation of action, but the renunciation of attachment to the fruits of action. Perform your duties with devotion, and you will attain the supreme peace and liberation that you seek. As Krishna's words settle within him, Arjuna feels a profound shift in his understanding. The teachings of the Bhagavad Gita have begun to dispel the clouds of doubt, revealing the clear path of action in devotion, a path that leads to self-realization and ultimate liberation. Chapter 11. The Path of Dhyan Yoga, Union through Self-Mastery and Divine Knowledge. In the heart of the Bhagavad Gita, as the conversation between Krishna and Arjuna unfolds on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, the discourse turns to the profound teachings of Dhyan Yoga, also known as Atma Samyam Yoga. Here, Krishna reveals the deep truths of meditation, self-control, and the nature of ultimate liberation. Arjuna, now eager to understand the path of self-realization, asks Krishna, Krishna, you have spoken of the importance of yoga, of uniting with the divine. But how does one truly achieve this union? How can one rise above the delusions of this world and experience the unending happiness you describe? Krishna, with infinite patience and wisdom, begins to explain. Arjuna, understand that I, the Supreme Lord, neither create actions nor their fruits. The living entities in this world are deluded due to ignorance, which clouds their vision and binds them to the cycle of birth and death. But those whose ignorance is destroyed by the light of divine knowledge experience the revelation of the Supreme Entity. They see the truth and are no longer misled by the illusions of the material world. Arjuna listens closely, his heart and mind attuned to Krishna's words. Krishna, you speak of those who have destroyed their ignorance. What is it that allows them to see the truth so clearly? Krishna's voice is calm, yet it carries the weight of divine authority. Arjuna, it is through firm faith in God, equal vision toward all beings, and self-realization that one attains liberation from material existence. Those who see me in every being and see every being in me are truly enlightened. They are no longer swayed by the dualities of life, pleasure and pain, gain and loss, praise and blame. Instead, they are united with the divine, and this union leads to unending happiness. Krishna continues, the pleasures derived from sense objects are temporary and ultimately lead to misery. They distract the mind and keep one bound to the cycle of birth and death. True yogis are those who can control their desires and anger, mastering their senses before they give up the body. They live in the world, but they are not of it, for their happiness does not depend on external things. Instead, they find joy within, in their connection with the divine. Now seeing the value of restraint, Arjuna asks, Krishna, how can one attain this degree of self-mastery? How is it possible to give up sensory delights and lead such a free life? As Krishna responds, Arjuna, the sage who becomes free from desire and fear, lives in true freedom. His eyes light up with compassion. Such a person recognizes the unity of renunciation and yoga. Giving up action does not equate to renunciation, rather it means giving up attachment to the results of action. The enlightened sage finds tranquility in meditation, while the soul striving for perfection in yoga finds means in work, without attachment. One's mind becomes more peaceful, the more self-control one exercises. In this state of peace, one can have encounters with the divine. Arjuna feels a strong resonance with Krishna's words, and he starts to see the path ahead of him more clearly. Krishna, Arjuna responds, If renunciation and yoga are one and the same, how does one balance the practice of meditation with the duties of life? Krishna smiles, his expression filled with understanding. Arjuna, it is through the practice of meditation, combined with the performance of one's duties without attachment, that one attains the highest state of yoga. When the mind is tranquil and the heart is free from desires, one can meditate deeply, uniting with the divine. In this state, the soul is no longer disturbed by the external world and can experience the eternal peace and joy of being one with God. As Krishna's teachings flow over him, Arjuna feels the weight of his doubts and fears begin to lift. He sees that the path of Dhyan Yoga is not about renouncing the world, but about finding inner peace and divine connection through disciplined action and meditation. Chapter 12. Mastering the Mind, the Path to Inner Peace and Divine Union Through Yoga. In the sacred dialogue of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna continues to reveal the deeper aspects of yoga to Arjuna, guiding him through the complexities of mastering the mind and attaining true spiritual discipline. As the conversation unfolds, Krishna emphasizes the crucial role of mental mastery in the practice of yoga, illuminating the path to inner peace and ultimate union with the divine. Krishna, Arjuna begins, his voice filled with earnest inquiry, you have spoken of the importance of self-mastery in the practice of yoga. But how does one truly conquer the mind? The mind is restless and difficult to control. How can I, amidst the chaos of life, bring it to stillness and focus? Krishna, ever patient and wise, responds with a gentle yet profound clarity. Arjuna, the mind is indeed restless, like the wind. But with discipline, determination, and the practice of yoga, it can be mastered. A person who has renounced all desires and has conquered the mind rises above the dualities of life, pleasure and pain, success and failure. Such a person remains peaceful and steadfast in their devotion to God, unaffected by the external world. Arjuna listens intently, absorbing Krishna's words. But Krishna, he asks, how does one achieve this state of mind? What steps must be taken to conquer the senses and maintain unwavering focus on the divine? Krishna's voice becomes both instructive and compassionate as he answers. Arjuna, the path of yoga requires dedication and a clear understanding of its practices. A true yogi, one who has conquered the senses and developed an impartial intellect towards all beings, is distinguished by their inner peace and unwavering devotion. To practice yoga, one must seek seclusion, away from distractions, and create a sanctified seat, a place where the mind can be purified through meditation. Krishna goes ahead, giving Arjuna clear instructions. Maintain a stable posture when sitting in this hallowed area and concentrate intently on one thing at a time. It is imperative to use meditation to cleanse the mind and focus all thoughts on the Supreme. A yogi's disciplined mind stays calm and focused on the divine during deep meditation or samadhi, when the practitioner experiences ultimate, limitless heavenly ecstasy that surpasses all material joys. The yogi never strayeth from the eternal truth in samadhi. Motivated by Krishna's teachings, Arjuna inquires, Krishna, how can I develop this discipline in my daily life? How can one stay in check and stay away from excess's traps? As Krishna responds, Arjuna, the practice of yoga requires balance in all aspects of life. His eyes reflect both wisdom and compassion. Eat in moderation, maintain a work-life balance, and get enough sleep. A person can lessen all their sorrows and lay the groundwork for profound meditation by leading a moderate life, neither overindulging nor underindulging. By practicing such equilibrium, you may keep your mind steady and concentrated, which enables you to go on the yoga path, step by step. Arjuna finds great resonance in Krishna's remarks, and he starts to see the path ahead of him more clearly. Krishna, you talk about how samadhi brings happiness and contentment. How can one stay determined to get to this place, especially in the face of obstacles and doubts? Krishna offers encouragement as his expression softens and becomes compassionate. Arjuna, this yoga has to be done without hesitation, without doubt or pessimism. With a strong sense of resolve, Go into your practice knowing that every attempt will bring you one step closer to the holy. Give up all desire and use the mind to control the senses in every way. Although the road may provide difficulties, the benefits are boundless. The transient joys of this world are greatly outweighed by the serenity and ecstasy of oneness with the Supreme. As Arjuna internalizes Krishna's teachings, he experiences a deep feeling of direction and clarity. He understands that the yogic path is about more than simply physical postures and ceremonies. It's also about developing inner discipline, taming the mind, and feeling the limitless ecstasy of divine oneness. Chapter 13. Conquering the Restless Mind, the Supreme Path of the Yogi. The discussion between Krishna and Arjuna deepens in the sacred discourse of the Bhagavad Gita as they discuss the fundamental advantages of self-control and the unification of consciousness with the divine. Krishna provides Arjuna with insight that goes beyond the difficulties of the physical world and leads him toward the ultimate objective of spiritual realization as he searches for guidance on the yoga road. Krishna, Arjuna says in a curious and slightly doubtful voice, you talk of the immense advantages of controlling oneself and bringing one's mind into alignment with God. However, how can one actually reach this state? The mind is so restless, lured incessantly in many directions by cravings. Is it truly feasible to master it and achieve the state of absolute happiness that you portray? Arjuna, those who have mastered self-control and united their consciousness with the divine become free from all material contamination, replies Krishna, his voice full of both compassion and authority. They transcend the transient joys and sorrows of this life and reach perfect happiness, a joy that originates from inside, from the soul's relationship with God, and is independent of outside events. Arjuna listens closely, intrigued by Krishna's words, but the doubts in his heart remain. Krishna, he says, you speak of this blissful state, but it seems almost impossible to reach. The mind is like a wild wind, always moving, never still. How can one hope to control it and keep it focused on the divine? Krishna's gaze is steady as he acknowledges Arjuna's concerns. Arjuna, it is true that the mind is restless and difficult to control. It is indeed like a wild wind, powerful and unpredictable. But with practice and detachment it can be brought under control. The key lies in perseverance and dedication. Regular practice of yoga, combined with a detachment from worldly desires, gradually tames the mind. It is not easy, but it is achievable. Krishna's words offer both challenge and encouragement, inspiring Arjuna to continue on his path. But Krishna, Arjuna asks, what happens if one fails to control the mind? What if, despite all efforts, a yogi is unable to achieve the ultimate goal in this lifetime? Krishna's expression softens with understanding as he explains, Arjuna, no effort on the path of yoga is ever wasted. Even if a yogi does not reach the final goal in this life, they are not lost. Such a soul is reborn into a pious and spiritually inclined family where they can continue their pursuit of God realization in their next life. They are given the opportunity to resume their journey from where they left off, progressing further with each birth. Krishna's words bring a sense of comfort to Arjuna, who begins to see the broader scope of the spiritual journey. Krishna, it seems that the path of the yogi is a long and difficult one, but also one filled with grace and divine support. How does this path compare to other spiritual practices? Krishna's voice carries the weight of divine truth as he answers, Arjuna, the yogi is indeed superior to other spiritual seekers, the ascetic who renounces the world, the scholar who studies the scriptures, and the one who performs rituals. All these paths have their merits, but the path of the yogi who unites with the divine through self-discipline and meditation is the highest. The yogi not only seeks personal liberation, but also sees God in all living beings, responding to their joys and sorrows as if they were their own. This deep connection with the divine and with all of creation is what makes the path of yoga supreme. Arjuna, now filled with a renewed sense of purpose, asks, Krishna, if the path of the yogi is the highest, then what must I do to walk this path? How can I strive to achieve this state of union with the divine? Krishna smiles, his expression filled with both love and guidance. Arjuna, strive with all your heart to become a true yogi. Practice self-control, meditate regularly, and maintain your devotion to God. Let go of attachments to the results of your actions and focus on the purity of your intentions. See the divine in all beings and treat everyone with love and compassion. By living in this way, you will progress on the path of yoga, and in time, you will attain the supreme state of bliss and liberation. As Krishna's words resonate within him, Arjuna feels the doubts and fears that once clouded his mind begin to dissolve. He realizes that the path of yoga is not just a path of discipline and self-control, but also one of deep connection with God, with all beings, and with the eternal truth that lies beyond the material world. Chapter 14. Divine Knowledge and Exclusive Devotion, the Path to Knowing the Supreme. In the epic dialogue of the Bhagavad Gita, as the conversation between Krishna and Arjuna continues to unfold on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, the teachings take a profound turn. Krishna begins to reveal the mysteries of his divine nature and the paths of knowing him through exclusive devotion, bhakti yoga, and through the wisdom of knowledge and realization, jnana vijnana yoga. The truths he shares transcend the immediate battle, guiding Arjuna and all seekers toward the ultimate understanding of the Supreme. Krishna, Arjuna begins, his voice filled with reverence and curiosity. You have spoken of many paths, but how can one truly know you, the Supreme Being, in your entirety? What is the nature of this knowledge and devotion that leads to such a profound understanding? Krishna, his presence radiant with divine wisdom, responds with a calm yet powerful voice. Arjuna, to know me completely, one must engage in exclusive devotion, bhakti yoga. Through this path, and the practice of jnana vijnana yoga, which encompasses knowledge and wisdom, I reveal my true nature to those who seek me with sincerity and dedication. Understand that I am the source of all creation. Everything that exists, from the smallest atom to the vast cosmos, originates from me. Arjuna listens intently, his heart and mind open to the profound truths being shared. Krishna continues, there are two energies that manifest all living beings. My inferior energy is Prakriti, the material nature, which includes the elements mind and intellect. But beyond this there is my superior energy, Purusha, the soul energy, or Jiva Shakti. It is through the interplay of these two energies that all living beings are manifested. Krishna's words carry the weight of eternal truth, as he explains further. I am the essence of everything. I am the taste in water, the light in the sun and moon, the ability in humans, and the sacred Om in the Vedas. I am beyond the three modes of Maya, goodness, passion, and ignorance, that delude people from knowing me. Those who surrender to me with pure devotion can easily cross over this Maya, but those who do not remain entangled in the illusions of the material world. Arjuna, moved by Krishna's revelations, asks, Krishna, who are those who find it difficult to surrender to you, and who are those who engage in your devotion with a pure heart? Krishna's gaze softens as he responds, Arjuna, there are four kinds of people who do not surrender to me. Those who are ignorant, those who are deluded, those whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and those who are of demonic nature. They are bound by their material desires and do not seek the higher truth. But there are also four kinds of pious people who engage in my devotion. Those who are distressed, those who seek knowledge, those who desire wealth, and those who seek me with pure love. Among them, those who worship me with knowledge, who are steadfast and exclusively devoted to me, are considered the highest. Krishna's voice takes on a tone of deep compassion as he continues, Those who have surrendered to me are indeed noble, but those who have made me their supreme goal through the path of knowledge are as dear to me as my very self. After many births of spiritual practice, a soul who is endowed with knowledge surrenders to me, realizing that I am the ultimate truth. Such a soul is rare and precious. Arjuna, filled with awe and a deep sense of understanding, asks, Krishna, what happens to those who seek material desires instead of spiritual knowledge? How do they relate to you? Krishna's response is filled with wisdom and insight. Arjuna, those who are driven by material desires often worship celestial gods, seeking perishable benefits. They believe they are obtaining these benefits from the gods, but in reality, I am the one who arranges these outcomes according to their desires. These benefits are temporary and do not lead to liberation. True liberation comes only through devotion to me. Krishna's teachings begin to illuminate the path for Arjuna, showing him the importance of devotion and knowledge in attaining the ultimate goal. Krishna continues, the practice of Dhyan Yoga, meditation, and Atma Samyam Yoga, self-control, are also means to know me. Through meditation, the mind becomes still, and through self-control the senses are restrained, allowing the soul to connect with me on a deeper level. These practices, combined with devotion, lead to the highest realization of my divine nature. As Krishna's words resonate within him, Arjuna feels the veil of doubt and confusion lifting from his heart. He begins to see the path of devotion and knowledge as not only a way to understand the divine, but as the very essence of life itself. Chapter 15. Understanding the Supreme Reality, the Path of Devotion and Yogic Concentration. In the unfolding conversation of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna, seeking deeper understanding of the ultimate truths of existence, turns to Krishna with questions about the nature of the absolute reality, the self and the essence of actions. As the tension of the battlefield surrounds them, their dialogue transcends the immediate conflict, delving into the profound mysteries of life and the universe. Krishna, Arjuna begins, his voice carrying the weight of his earnest quest for knowledge, I wish to understand the nature of the absolute reality, the essence of the individual soul, and the true meaning of actions. What is Brahman? What is Adhyatma, the individual self? And what is karma, the actions we perform in this world? Krishna, the embodiment of divine wisdom, listens to Arjuna's questions with compassion and clarity. His voice, calm and serene, begins to explain, Arjuna, Brahman is the supreme indestructible entity, the ultimate reality that pervades everything. It is eternal, unchanging, and beyond the physical world. The individual soul, or Adhyatma, is your own true self, the eternal essence that resides within you, distinct from the body and mind. Karma refers to the material activities of living beings, the actions they perform in this world, driven by desire, duty, or necessity. Arjuna, absorbing these profound truths, asks further, Krishna, you have spoken of different aspects of reality. What is the nature of the physical world, the universal form of God, and the role you play as the Lord of sacrifices? Krishna's eyes shine with divine light as he continues, Arjuna, the physical manifestation of the world is known as Adibhuta. It encompasses all material things, the perishable aspects of creation. The universal form of God, which sustains and governs the cosmos, is called Adidaiva. It is the divine presence that permeates all existence. As for myself, I am Adhyajna, the Lord of all sacrifices. I reside in the hearts of all beings as the witness and enjoyer of their actions, guiding them on the path of righteousness. Krishna's words resonate deeply with Arjuna, who begins to see the interconnectedness of all aspects of existence. But another question lingers in his mind. Krishna, he asks, what happens at the time of death? How can one ensure that they attain you in that final moment? Krishna's voice grows even more compassionate as he provides guidance. Arjuna, those who remember me at the time of death will surely attain me. This is my promise. Therefore, always keep me in your thoughts as you perform your duties in this world. Do not let your mind be distracted by the transient things of life. By remembering me with unwavering devotion, you will transcend the cycle of birth and death and unite with me in the eternal realm. Krishna then describes his divine nature, further revealing the vastness of his being. I am the omniscient, the knower of all things. I am the ancient controller, existing before time itself. I am subtler than the subtlest, beyond the grasp of the senses. Yet I am the support of all, sustaining the entire universe. Those who meditate on me, with steady minds and hearts full of devotion, will surely attain the highest truth. Arjuna, moved by Krishna's revelations, asks, "Krishna, how can one attain this state of union with you? What must I do to ensure that my mind and heart are always fixed on you?" Krishna's response is both practical and profound. Arjuna, through yogic concentration and disciplined practice, you can attain me. Control your mind, restrain your senses, and focus your consciousness entirely on me. Let go of all desires and attachments that bind you to the material world. By cultivating a state of deep meditation, where your thoughts are absorbed in my divine presence, you will overcome all obstacles and reach the supreme goal. Krishna's words fill Arjuna with a sense of purpose and clarity. He begins to understand that the path to liberation is not just about physical actions or rituals, but about the inner state of mind and heart. It is about maintaining a constant connection with the divine, even amidst the challenges of life. Chapter 16. The Path of Light, Devotion and the Attainment of the Supreme Goal. In the heart of the Bhagavad Gita, the sacred dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna reaches a profound depth as Krishna reveals the ultimate truths of devotion, liberation, and the eternal nature of the universe. The battlefield of Kurukshetra fades into the background as the discussion turns to the supreme goal of life and the secrets of the eternal path. "Krishna," Arjuna begins, his voice filled with a mix of reverence and curiosity, "you have spoken of the benefits of devotion and the supreme goal that one can attain. But how does one truly reach this ultimate destination? What is the nature of this path, and what happens to those who devote themselves entirely to you?" Krishna, his presence radiating divine wisdom, responds with a serene and powerful voice, "Arjuna, for those who constantly think of me with exclusive devotion, I am easily attainable. Their minds are fixed on me. Their hearts are devoted to me, and they seek nothing else. Such souls, upon reaching me, will never be reborn in this transient world full of misery. This material world, with all its creations, is subject to the cycles of birth and death, but my abode is beyond this. Once a soul reaches my eternal realm, there is no further rebirth. It is the ultimate destination, free from suffering and filled with eternal bliss." Arjuna listens intently, his mind captivated by the promise of eternal liberation. "Krishna," he asks, "what is the nature of this eternal realm? How does it differ from the world we know, which is constantly changing and impermanent?" Arjuna, "The universe goes through endless cycles of creation and destruction," says Krishna. The timeless truth shines in his eyes. Everything in the physical universe is impermanent and subject to birth, growth, deterioration, and death. Beyond our manifest world is an everlasting, unmanifest reality. This dimension is the ultimate goal, the ultimate reality, existing beyond both the manifest and the unmanifest creations. In this location, time and space do not exist, and the soul is forever joined to God. This is the destination for those who comprehend the mystery of the two paths, the dark road leading to reincarnation and the light path leading to release. "Krishna, could you please clarify these two paths?" Arjuna asks, eager to understand. "How can one ensure that they avoid the dark path and choose the light path?" Krishna then speaks in a way that is both compassionate and instructive. "Arjuna, the path of light is the way of knowledge, devotion, and righteousness. Those who follow this path live with their hearts and minds fixed on the divine. They practice self-control, meditation, and lifelong service to others. When this life ends, they ascend to the eternal region where rebirth and death are impossible. However, the dark path leads through ignorance and attachment. Because of their anxieties and desires, people who take this way end up imprisoned in a never-ending cycle of life and death." Krishna's words carry the weight of divine authority as he imparts this sacred knowledge to Arjuna. The yogis who understand this secret are never bewildered, Arjuna. They gain merit far beyond the fruits of Vedic rituals, for they know the ultimate truth. They do not seek temporary rewards or pleasures, but strive for eternal union with the divine. This knowledge I share with you now is the king of sciences, the most profound wisdom that purifies those who hear it. It is easy to practice and directly realizable for those who have faith and devotion. Arjuna, deeply moved by Krishna's revelations, feels a sense of clarity and purpose washing over him. Krishna, you have opened my eyes to the supreme path. I understand now that true liberation lies in unwavering devotion to you and the pursuit of eternal truth. How can I live in a way that keeps me on this path, ensuring that I reach your abode? Krishna's expression is filled with warmth and encouragement as he responds, Arjuna, live with your mind and heart centered on me. Remember me in all that you do, and perform your duties with devotion, free from attachment to the results. Practice the disciplines of yoga, meditation, self-control, and selfless service. By doing so, you will remain on the path of light, steadily progressing toward liberation. Trust in my words, for they are the truth that leads to eternal freedom. As Krishna's teachings resonate within him, Arjuna feels his doubts and fears dissolve. He now sees the path to the supreme goal as not only achievable, but as the very essence of life's purpose. Chapter 17. The Supreme Relationship. Understanding Krishna's role as creator, sustainer, and ultimate goal. In the profound dialogue of the Bhagavad Gita, the conversation between Krishna and Arjuna deepens as Krishna reveals the intricate relationship between himself, living beings, and the material world. The battlefield of Kurukshetra, where these truths are shared, fades into the background as Krishna illuminates the ultimate nature of existence, creation, and devotion. Krishna, Arjuna begins, his voice filled with reverence and the desire for deeper understanding. You have spoken of the divine nature of creation and the soul, but how do you relate to the living beings and the material world? What is the nature of your connection with all that exists? Krishna, his presence radiating divine authority, responds with a voice that carries the wisdom of the ages. Arjuna, know that I am the creator and sustainer of all that exists. Everything that is born, every living being, every element of creation arises from my energy. Yet, though I am the source of all, I am not influenced by them. The material world, with all its complexities, rests in me, but I remain beyond its influence, untouched and eternal. Arjuna listens closely, absorbing the vastness of Krishna's words. Krishna, he asks, how can you create and sustain everything yet remain unaffected? What happens to the living beings at the end of each cycle of creation? Krishna's eyes, filled with infinite knowledge, meet Arjuna's as he continues. Arjuna, at the end of each creation, all living beings merge back into my primordial energy, only to be recreated again when the cycle begins anew. I generate all forms through my material energy, yet I am not bound by these actions. I remain a neutral observer, guiding the universe with my will, but not entangled in it. Krishna's words paint a picture of the eternal cycle of creation and dissolution, a dance of divine energy that he oversees without attachment. He goes on to explain the two paths that living beings can take. Arjuna, those who recognize me as the Supreme Lord, engage in loving devotion. They understand that I am the origin of all creation, the Vedic rituals, and the supreme goal of all living beings. But those who do not see this truth are deluded, embracing demoniac and atheistic views that lead them away from the light. Arjuna, his heart moved by Krishna's revelations, asks, Krishna, how do those who engage in Vedic rituals fit into this understanding? Do they not also seek the divine? Krishna's voice is gentle but firm as he responds, Arjuna, those who follow the Vedic rituals seek pleasure in heaven, striving for temporary rewards. While they may experience the joys of the heavenly realms, eventually they return to the earthly plane, bound by the cycle of birth and death. However, those who exclusively devote themselves to me, who surrender their hearts and minds in loving devotion, are provided for and preserved by my grace. I ensure that they never lack what they need and protect them from what they fear. Arjuna, feeling the depth of Krishna's care for his devotees, asks, Krishna, what of those who worship other gods? Do they not also seek the divine, even if by different paths? Krishna's expression is filled with understanding as he explains, Arjuna, Even those who worship other gods are in reality worshipping me, though they do so through the wrong method. I am the father, the mother, the sustainer, the grandsire, and the ultimate goal of all worship. Those who seek other deities for material gains do so with limited understanding, and while their devotion is directed elsewhere, it is I who grant the fruits of their worship. But their rewards are temporary, confined to the material world, whereas those who worship me directly attain eternal union with the divine. Krishna's words resonate deeply within Arjuna, revealing the all-encompassing nature of the divine. He begins to see that Krishna's role in the universe is not just as a creator or a deity, but as the ultimate source and sustainer of all life, the one true goal of every soul's journey. As the realization dawns on him, Arjuna feels a profound sense of peace and purpose. Krishna, he says, I understand now that true devotion to you is the highest path, transcending all other forms of worship. I see that you are the source of all that is, and that surrendering to you is the way to attain the supreme goal of life. Krishna smiles, his expression filled with both love and wisdom. Arjuna, you have understood well. Remain steadfast in your devotion. Perform your duties with your mind fixed on me, and you will attain the highest truth. Know that I am with you always, guiding and protecting you on your journey toward liberation. Chapter 18. Unwavering Devotion, the Path to Krishna's Divine Embrace. In the sacred dialogue of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna continues to share the profound truths of his divine nature and the path of devotion with Arjuna. The battlefield of Kurukshetra, though filled with the impending clash of armies, becomes a place of deep spiritual revelation as Krishna imparts the ultimate knowledge of devotion, sacrifice, and the true nature of the Supreme. Krishna, Arjuna begins, his voice filled with reverence and a deep desire to understand. You have spoken of the importance of devotion and the power of offering our actions to you. But how does one truly please you, the Supreme Lord, in the simplest of ways? And what becomes of those who do not recognize your divine nature? Krishna, his presence radiant with divine love and wisdom, responds with a calm and assuring voice. Arjuna, know that I am the enjoyer and the only Lord of all sacrifices. Those who fail to recognize my divine nature, who are caught in the illusions of the material world, will continue to be reborn in the cycle of samsara. But my devotees, who surrender to me with pure hearts, come directly to me, freed from the bondage of rebirth. Krishna's words carry the weight of unceasing truth as he proceeds. It is not the greatness of the advertising that things to me, Arjuna. Anything is advertised to me with commitment. Whether it is a basic leaf, a blossom, natural product, or indeed water, I enchant in it. It is the truthfulness of the heart, the dedication with which the advertising is made, that satisfies me. Hence, devote all your activities to me, whether awesome or little, and you will be liberated from the subjugation of great and awful results. Arjuna tunes in eagerness, his heart moved by Krishna's accentuation on dedication and the effortlessness of divine cherish. Krishna, he inquires, you talk of committing all activities to you. How can one live in such a way that each activity gets to be an advertising, liberating oneself from the dualities of this world? Krishna's look is filled with sympathy as he offers direction. Arjuna, perform all your obligations with your intellect and heart settled on me. Whether you eat, give up, donate in charity, or lock in any action, do it as an advertising to me. By doing so, you will rise over the dualities of life, pleasure and torment, victory and disappointment. You will stay relentless in your commitment, untouched by the comes-about of your activities, and you will come to me, the Supreme. Krishna's teachings resonate deeply within Arjuna, bringing clarity and purpose to his path. Yet another question arises in his mind. Krishna, Arjuna asks, you speak of being equal to all living beings, yet how do you regard those who have sinned or strayed from the path? Can they still attain you? Krishna's voice is filled with infinite mercy as he responds, Arjuna, I am equally disposed toward all living beings. I do not discriminate based on their past actions or mistakes. Even the most sinful devotee, who sincerely turns to me with a heart full of devotion, is considered righteous. Such a person is on the path of redemption and will surely attain the supreme destination. Know that anyone who takes refuge in me, regardless of their birth, race, gender, or caste, will be welcomed into my eternal abode. My love and grace are available to all who seek me with sincerity and devotion. Krishna's words bring a profound sense of hope and inclusivity, revealing the boundless nature of his divine love. Arjuna, filled with awe and gratitude, asks, "Krishna, you have revealed so much to me. How can one fully comprehend your glories and divine powers? How can I, as a devotee, become united with you in unwavering devotion?" Krishna smiles, his expression filled with both love and wisdom. "Arjuna, I am the source of all creation, the beginning, middle, and end of everything that exists. Those who know my glories, who understand the divine powers that manifest through me, become united with me through unwavering devotion. Such souls who constantly remember me, who see me in all things and dedicate their lives to my service, are never separated from me. I am always with them, guiding and protecting them on their path to the supreme destination." As Krishna's teachings settle within him, Arjuna feels a deep sense of peace and resolve. He understands that the path to the divine is not about grandeur or complexity, but about sincere devotion, humility, and the recognition of Krishna's all-encompassing nature. Chapter 19. Revelation of Divine Opulence, Krishna's Infinite Manifestations. When Arjuna completely comprehends the divine essence of Krishna, who appears before him not just as a companion and charioteer, but as the Supreme Personality, the Creator, and the Lord of all beings, the veil of ignorance begins to lift in the famous dialogue of the Bhagavad Gita. As Arjuna realizes the enormity of the presence guiding him, his heart fills with reverence and wonder, and the Kurukshetra battlefield fades into the distance. Beginning Krishna with a tone that combines humility and deep insight, Arjuna says, "I now see that you are the Supreme Personality, the Creator of all, the Lord of all beings. You are not of this world, and not even the wisest sages or seers could truly understand who you really are. The universe is filled with your presence, and your grandeur knows no bounds." Arjuna continues, and Krishna, with his glorious light undimmed, listens and smiles gently. "Yet, Krishna, I want to know more. Tell me, please, of your glorious manifestations and opulences. In what ways do you show who you are in this world? In order to increase my devotion and comprehension, I would like to learn about and reflect on your boundless grandeur." As Krishna starts to speak, Arjuna's eyes meet his, full of immeasurable wisdom and compassion. "It is true, Arjuna, that I am the origin of all creation and the start, center, and finish of everything that is. Nobody can ever truly appreciate the extent and boundlessness of my divine opulences. I will, however, make some of my manifestations known to you, so that you might contemplate my magnificence and comprehend my omnipresence more fully." Krishna's voice reverberates with the force of the universe as he starts to narrate his manifestations. "I am Vishnu among the Adityas. I am the radiant sun among the luminaries. I am Marichi amid the Maruts, and the moon among the stars. I am the Sama Veda among the Vedas, and the monarch of heaven, Indra, among the gods. I am the intellect among the senses, and I am the consciousness in living things." Raised in rapt attention, Arjuna hears Krishna reveal still more of his heavenly forms. "I am Shiva among the Rudras. I am Kubera, the Lord of Wealth, amid the Yakshas and Rakshasas. I am Meru, the golden mountain, and I am Agni, the fire god, among the Vasas. I am Skanda, the god of war, among generals, and Brihaspati, the chief of priests among priests. I am Brigu among the ancient sages, and I am the ocean among bodies of water." Like thunder roaring in the distance, Krishna's voice never stops listing all of his many forms. "I am the source, center, and culmination of all that exists. I am the science of the self among all sciences. I am reason itself among disputants. I am infinite time, the compound of compounds, and the A of letters. I am the beginning of all that is yet to come, and I am the all-devouring death. I embody fame, fortune, eloquence, memory, intelligence, perseverance, patience, and intelligence among feminine attributes. After hearing these celestial revelations, Arjuna experiences a sense of Krishna's presence in all facets of life and realizes that everything is an expression of the Supreme Lord, regardless of location, force, or being. I am the Supreme Soul seated in the hearts of all beings. I am the beginning, the middle, and the end of all that exists, Krishna adds, his voice bearing the truth of eons. I am the lion, the king of beasts. I am the power of the strong, bereft of love and devotion. I am Garuda, the bird, and I am the wind, the purifier. I am Rama, the wielder of swords, the Ganges, the river. Arjuna, I am the beginning, the end, and the middle of all creatures. Krishna pauses, allowing Arjuna to absorb the magnitude of what he has heard. Then, with a voice both tender and all-encompassing, he concludes, "But what need is there, Arjuna, for you to know all this detail? Know that I exist, supporting this entire universe with a mere fragment of myself. There is no end to my divine manifestations, and all that is glorious, prosperous, or powerful in this world springs from but a spark of my splendor. Understand this, and know that by meditating upon my infinite forms, you will draw closer to me, uniting your soul with the eternal truth." Arjuna, overwhelmed by the revelation of Krishna's divine opulences, bows his head in reverence. "Krishna," he says, his voice filled with devotion, "I am humbled by the vastness of your glory. You are the source of all that is, seen and unseen. I understand now that to know you is to know the very essence of existence. I will meditate on your infinite forms and keep you ever in my heart." Chapter 20. The Terrifying Vision. Arjuna's encounter with Krishna's cosmic form. In the unfolding narrative of the Bhagavad Gita, the battlefield of Kurukshetra transforms into a scene of cosmic revelation as Arjuna witnesses a terrifying and awe-inspiring vision of Lord Vishnu's universal form. This vision, granted by Krishna to dispel Arjuna's doubts and fears, reveals the true extent of the divine power that governs the universe, both its creation and its inevitable destruction. As the vision unfolds, Arjuna beholds Lord Vishnu in a form unlike any he has ever seen, a form that embodies the eternal protector of the universe, wielding infinite power with countless arms. The sun and moon, which give light to all creation, appear as Lord Vishnu's eyes blazing with divine brilliance. From his mouth pours forth fire, consuming all before it, and his radiance warms the entire creation, filling the universe with both life and an overwhelming sense of awe. "Krishna," Arjuna stammers, his voice trembling as he gazes upon this terrifying form. "I see you now as the eternal protector, the source of all power and might. Your form is vast, encompassing the entire universe, and your radiance outshines the sun and the moon. The Rudras, Adityas, Vasus, and all the celestial beings are taking shelter in you, extolling your greatness with prayers and hymns. But I am terrified by what I see." Arjuna's eyes widen in fear as he takes in the many mouths, eyes, and arms of Lord Vishnu, each more fearsome than the last. The sight of his terrifying teeth and the destructive power they represent causes Arjuna's heart to race and his courage to falter. He sees the warriors of both armies, those who stand with him and those who stand against him, rushing headlong into the fearsome mouths of Lord Vishnu, where they are devoured by the all-consuming flames. "Krishna!" Arjuna cries out, his voice shaking with fear. "I see the greatest warriors, the kings and princes of both sides, all being drawn into your mouths. They rush to their doom as if driven by some unseen force, and I tremble at the sight. Your form is terrifying, and I am overwhelmed by your destructive power. What does this mean? How can I understand what I am seeing?" Krishna, in his all-encompassing form as Vishnu, speaks with a voice that echoes across the cosmos. Arjun, what you see is the inevitable destruction that comes to all beings. I am the source of both creation and destruction. These warriors, who you see rushing into my mouths, have already been killed by me. They are simply fulfilling their destinies, which I have already decreed. No one can escape their fate, and I am the force that drives the cycles of life and death. Arjun's heart pounds in his chest as he listens to Krishna's words, realizing the terrifying truth of what he has witnessed. The destruction he sees is not a future event. It is already written, already decided by the will of the Supreme. The warriors he fights alongside and those he fights against are all part of this grand design, where life and death are but phases in an endless cycle governed by the divine. Krishna, Arjun pleads, falling to his knees before the vast and fearsome form, I am overcome with fear. I tremble before your greatness and your power. I see now that you are the ultimate force in the universe, the master of life and death. But I am but a mortal, unable to bear the sight of your terrifying form. Please have mercy on me. Show me your more familiar, gentle form, the one I know and love. I beg you, grant me peace and restore my courage. Krishna, hearing the heartfelt plea of his devoted friend, begins to withdraw the terrifying vision. The countless arms and mouths fade away, and the blinding radiance dims to reveal the familiar and loving form of Krishna, the charioteer and friend who has guided Arjuna through the darkest moments of his life. As Krishna returns to his gentle form, his voice is filled with compassion. Arjuna, do not be afraid. What you have seen is the truth of my divine nature, the power that sustains and destroys the universe. But know that I am always with you, as your friend, your guide, and your protector. The events that must unfold on this battlefield are part of the cosmic order, but you must fulfill your duty without fear. Remember, I am always by your side. Arjuna, now calmed by Krishna's reassuring presence, rises to his feet. His fear has subsided, replaced by a deep reverence and understanding of the divine will that governs all things. Krishna, he says, his voice steady, I now understand the vastness of your power and the role you play in the grand design of the universe. I will carry out my duty with the knowledge that you are guiding me, and I will place my trust in you, knowing that whatever happens, it is part of your divine plan. Chapter 21. The Power of Devotion. Arjuna's surrender to the Supreme Lord. In the sacred narrative of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna stands humbled and awestruck after witnessing the terrifying and magnificent universal form of Krishna, who reveals himself as the supreme force behind all creation and destruction. Overwhelmed by the vision, Arjuna's heart is filled with both reverence and a deep, sincere desire to connect with the divine on a more intimate and personal level. Krishna, Arjuna begins, his voice trembling with emotion. You are the primeval deity, the eternal origin of all that exists. You are the sole resting place of the universe, the embodiment of infinite power and glory. In you I see the gods of wind, death, fire, water, and the moon. You are Brahma, the creator and the great-grandfather of all beings. My mind is overwhelmed by your vastness, and I offer my deepest salutations to you, the Supreme Lord of all. As Arjuna speaks, his voice is filled with both awe and humility. He recalls his past interactions with Krishna, where he may have treated him as a friend, without fully realizing his divine nature. Now, with the knowledge of Krishna's true form, Arjuna feels a profound sense of remorse. Krishna, Arjuna continues, I ask for your forgiveness for any disrespect I may have shown you in the past, whether in ignorance or in moments of familiarity. I may have spoken to you as a friend, jested with you, or even taken liberties in our close bond, not knowing that I was in the presence of the Supreme Being. You are the Father of the universe, the most deserving of worship, and the Supreme Spiritual Master. No one is more worthy of reverence than you. Arjuna's heart swells with a mixture of emotions, joy at the realization of Krishna's divine presence, but also fear at the immense power he has just witnessed. Despite this, his devotion remains unwavering, and he longs to see Krishna in a more familiar yet still divine form, Krishna, Arjuna pleads, though I have seen your universal form, which fills me with both awe and fear, I now wish to see you in your four-armed form, the form that carries the mace and disc, the form that is both majestic and merciful. Please grant me this vision, so that my heart may find peace. Krishna, ever compassionate and understanding, listens to Arjuna's request with a gentle smile. His voice, filled with divine reassurance, echoes through the battlefield. Arjuna, your devotion is pure and sincere, and I will grant you this vision. But know that the form you desire to see, as well as my universal form, can only be truly understood and realized through unalloyed devotion. It is through this pure, unwavering love and dedication that one can come to know me as I am and be united with me. As Krishna begins to manifest his four-armed form, carrying the mace, disc, conch, and lotus, his voice continues to impart divine wisdom to Arjuna. Arjuna, those who perform their duties with their minds and hearts fixed on me, who are devoted to me without any attachment to the fruits of their actions, who are free from malice and ill will toward others, they are the ones who will certainly come to me. They are the ones who, through their devotion and righteousness, transcend the cycle of birth and death and find eternal union with the divine. Arjuna, now beholding Krishna in his four-armed form, feels a deep sense of peace and fulfillment. The fear that once gripped his heart begins to fade, replaced by an overwhelming sense of love and devotion. He bows deeply before Krishna, recognizing him as the supreme protector and guide, the one who has always been by his side, both as a friend and as the Lord of all, or of. Krishna, Arjuna says, his voice filled with gratitude, I see now that it is through devotion, through surrendering all that I am to you, that I can truly understand and be one with the divine. I vow to perform my duties with this knowledge in my heart, to live my life in service to you, free from attachment and ill will. With you as my guide, I know that I will find the strength to face whatever lies ahead. Krishna, his four-armed form radiating divine grace, blesses Arjuna with a smile that seems to encompass all the love and compassion in the universe. Arjuna, he says, your heart is in the right place and your path is clear. Continue with your duties, remain devoted to me, and know that I am always with you. Through your devotion you will attain the supreme goal and be forever united with me. Chapter 22. Devotion and Surrender, the Path to Eternal Union with the Divine. In the ongoing dialogue of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna, still seeking clarity and understanding on the path of spiritual fulfillment, poses a profound question to Krishna. As the conversation unfolds on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, the discussion shifts toward the nature of devotion and the different ways to connect with the divine, particularly through the worship of God's personal form versus the formless, unmanifest Brahman. Krishna, Arjuna begins, his voice filled with sincere curiosity, I wish to understand the path of devotion more deeply. Among those who worship you in your personal form and those who seek to connect with the formless Brahman, which path is superior in the practice of yoga? How can I best align my mind and heart to achieve the highest spiritual goal? Krishna, his expression serene and full of compassion, responds with a gentle yet firm tone. Arjuna, both paths are noble, but the way of devotion to my personal form with steadfast faith is the easier and more direct path. Those who fix their minds on me, who worship me with unwavering devotion and love, are considered the best yogis. They are the ones who truly connect with my divine essence and are closest to me. Arjuna listens intently as Krishna continues. However, those who worship the unmanifest Brahman, the formless aspect of the divine, face greater challenges. The path of the formless is difficult for those who are embodied, for the human mind and heart naturally seek connection through form. The unmanifest is beyond the reach of the senses, and it requires intense discipline and detachment, which can be arduous and difficult to sustain. Krishna's words resonate deeply within Arjuna, who begins to see the significance of a personal connection with the divine. Yet, he seeks further guidance on how to live in a way that aligns with this path. Krishna, Arjuna asks, How can I dedicate my life to you in a way that ensures I remain connected and am able to overcome the challenges of this world? What must I do to be delivered from the cycle of birth and death? Krishna's eyes shine with divine understanding as he offers clear guidance. Arjuna, dedicate all your actions to me. Whatever you do, whether it is work, worship, or daily duties, do it as an offering to me. By surrendering your mind and intellect to me, you will be swiftly delivered from the ocean of birth and death. Fix your mind on me, let your intellect dwell in me, and you will always live in me, no matter where you are or what you face. Krishna's voice carries the weight of eternal truth as he continues. Devotion, Arjuna, is the key. When you perform your actions without attachment to the results, when you renounce the fruits of your labor and free yourself from selfishness and egotism, you purify your heart and mind. This is the path that pleases me, the path that leads to liberation. Arjuna, feeling the depth of Krishna's wisdom, asks, Krishna, what qualities should I cultivate to deepen my devotion and live in a way that pleases you? Krishna's expression softens as he speaks of the qualities dear to him. Arjuna, those who are indifferent to worldly gains, who remain pure in heart and action, are very dear to me. Those who are skillful in their duties, untroubled by the ups and downs of life, and free from selfish desires and attachments, they are truly close to me. Such souls live with humility, simplicity, and a deep inner peace. They do not seek recognition or reward but find joy in serving the divine. Their devotion is pure, and they are steadfast in their love for me. As Krishna's words sink in, Arjuna feels a profound sense of peace and clarity. He understands that true devotion is not about grand gestures or extraordinary deeds, but about living each moment with love, humility, and dedication to the divine. Krishna, Arjuna says, his voice filled with devotion, I will fix my mind on you and surrender my intellect to your guidance. I will live with the qualities you have described, striving to remain pure, untroubled, and free from attachment. With your blessings, I will walk this path of devotion and offer all my actions to you, knowing that you will lead me to the ultimate truth and liberation. Krishna, his eyes filled with love and reassurance, responds, Arjuna, you are on the right path. Continue with faith and devotion, and you will surely reach the supreme goal. Remember, I am always with you, guiding you, protecting you, and drawing you closer to me with every step you take in love and surrender. Chapter 23. Prakriti and Purush, the eternal dance of matter and spirit. In the ongoing dialogue of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna, still seeking deeper understanding, poses a question that delves into the very essence of existence. On the battlefield of Kurukshetra, surrounded by the impending clash of forces, Arjuna's inquiry transcends the physical conflict and touches upon the fundamental truths of life, nature, and the soul. Krishna, Arjuna begins, his voice filled with a blend of curiosity and reverence, I seek to understand the nature of Prakriti, the material world, and Purush, the individual souls. What is the true knowledge that leads to the highest spiritual goal? How do these concepts relate to the essence of who we are and the reality we perceive? Krishna, his presence radiating wisdom and serenity, responds with a calm and knowing voice. Arjuna, the body is referred to as the kshetra, or the field of activities, where all actions, experiences, and sensations occur. The one who knows this body, who is aware of its workings and limitations, is called the kshetrajna, the knower of the field. However, understand this, Arjuna. I am not only the knower of your individual field of activity, but also the knower of all fields of activity across the universe. I am the ultimate source of true knowledge. Arjuna listens intently, his mind opening to the profound truths Krishna reveals. Krishna continues, the field of activities, or kshetra, is composed of various elements. These include the 5 great elements, earth, water, fire, air, and ether, as well as the ego, intellect, and the unmanifest primordial matter. It also consists of the 11 senses and their corresponding objects, which together create the material world in which all beings interact and experience life. Krishna's words begin to unravel the complex nature of existence for Arjuna. But Krishna does not stop there. He delves deeper, describing the essence of true knowledge, the qualities that elevate the soul and guide it toward liberation. True knowledge, Arjuna, Krishna explains, is not merely an intellectual understanding of the world, but a way of being. It is composed of humility, non-violence, patience, purity, and unwavering devotion to me. It includes a deep respect for the wisdom of the spiritual teacher, self-control, and a detachment from the fleeting pleasures of the senses. It also involves an absence of egotism, a steady awareness of the impermanence of life, and a longing for inner purity and peace. Arjuna, moved by the depth of Krishna's teachings, asks, Krishna, what is the ultimate goal of this knowledge? What should one strive to understand in order to attain the highest truth? Krishna's gaze softens as he reveals the profound answer. Arjuna, the ultimate reality to be known is the beginningless Brahman, which lies beyond existence and non-existence. This Brahman is the essence of immortality, the source from which all life springs and into which it eventually returns. It is beyond the dualities of the material world, yet it sustains, creates, and annihilates all beings. I, as the Supreme Divine, exist both inside and outside all living beings. I am the sustainer of the universe, the creator of all that exists, and the force that dissolves everything back into the primordial essence. Krishna's words echo with the truth that transcends time and space, and Arjuna feels a deep resonance within his soul. Yet, he seeks further clarity on the relationship between Prakriti and Purush, the material world, and the individual soul. Krishna, Arjuna inquires, what is the connection between Prakriti and Purush? How do they relate to the eternal truths you have revealed? Krishna's voice takes on a tone of gentle instruction as he answers, Arjuna, both Prakriti and Purush are beginningless. Prakriti is the material nature, the field in which all actions occur, the cause of creation, preservation, and destruction. Purush, the individual soul, is the conscious entity that experiences the field of activities. The soul is eternal, beyond the limitations of the material body, and yet it interacts with Prakriti, becoming bound by its qualities and cycles. The wise, however, see beyond this interplay, recognizing the eternal soul's connection to the divine. Krishna's teachings settle over Arjuna like a calming breeze, bringing with them the clarity of understanding that Arjuna has been seeking. The complex dance of Prakriti and Purush, the body and the soul, becomes clearer in the light of Krishna's wisdom. Krishna, Arjuna says, his voice filled with newfound conviction, I understand now that true knowledge is not merely about understanding the material world, but about realizing the eternal connection between the soul and the divine. I see that it is through humility, devotion, and the renunciation of ego that one can truly attain liberation. I will strive to embody these qualities and deepen my understanding of the ultimate reality. Krishna smiles, his expression full of approval and love. Arjuna, you're on the right path. Continue to seek this knowledge with a pure heart, and you will transcend the dualities of the material world. By understanding the true nature of Prakriti and Purush, and by dedicating yourself to the pursuit of the eternal truth, you will attain the supreme goal and be united with the divine. Chapter 24. Transcending Material Nature, the Soul's Journey to Liberation. In the sacred dialogue of the Bhagavad Gita, as the teachings of Krishna continue to unfold, Arjuna is guided deeper into the mysteries of creation, existence, and the ultimate truth. The battlefield of Kurukshetra, charged with the impending clash of armies, becomes the backdrop for a profound exploration of the soul, the material world, and the divine interplay that governs all existence. Krishna, Arjuna begins, his voice filled with a deep yearning to understand, you have revealed so much to me, yet I seek to comprehend the nature of the material world and its role in binding the soul. How does this material energy, which seems to govern everything around us, influence the soul's journey? What is the relationship between the soul, the body, and the Supreme? Krishna, his presence emanating divine wisdom and compassion, responds with a voice that carries the weight of eternal truth. Arjuna, the material energy is the force that drives the creation, sustenance, and dissolution of the universe. It is responsible for the cause and effect in the matter of creation, shaping the physical world in which all beings exist. However, while the material energy governs the external world, it is the individual soul that experiences the internal reality, the joys and sorrows, the happiness and distress that come with life in the material realm. Arjuna listens closely, his heart and mind open to the profound teachings Krishna is about to reveal. Krishna continues, "The soul, seated within the material energy, naturally desires to enjoy the three modes of nature, sattva, goodness, rajas, passion, and tamas, ignorance. This desire leads the soul to become attached to these modes, which in turn causes the soul to be born again and again, sometimes in superior wombs and sometimes in inferior ones, depending on the soul's karma and attachments." Krishna's words reveal the intricate dance between the soul and the material world, where the eternal soul becomes entangled in the cycle of birth and death due to its desires. But Krishna does not leave Arjuna in the dark. He goes on to illuminate the role of the Supreme Soul in this grand cosmic play. "Arjuna," Krishna says, his voice filled with divine authority, "know that the Supreme Soul, the Paramatma, is present within every living being. This Supreme Soul serves as the witness, observing all that happens within the body. It is the permitter, allowing the soul to act according to its desires. It is the supporter, sustaining all life. It is the transcendental enjoyer, delighting in the pure essence of existence. It is the ultimate controller, guiding the cosmos with an unseen hand. And, most importantly, it is the imperishable, beginningless, and eternal Paramatma, the Supreme Soul that remains untouched by the material energy, even as it pervades every living being." Arjuna, overwhelmed by the magnitude of Krishna's revelation, asks, "Krishna, if the Supreme Soul is within every being and remains unaffected by the material world, how can the individual soul, which is so deeply entangled in the material energy, ever hope to achieve liberation?" Krishna's gaze is steady, filled with both compassion and certainty, as he answers, "Arjuna, those who understand the truth about the Supreme Soul, the individual soul, and the nature of material energy will indeed be liberated from the cycle of birth and death. The individual soul is the knower of the body, the observer of all that happens within the field of activities, yet it is not truly affected by the material nature. It is eternal, pure, and untouched by the material qualities, even though it is situated within the body. The Supreme Soul, which pervades all existence, neither acts nor is tainted by the material energy. It is beyond all dualities, beyond all attachments. As Krishna speaks, he paints a picture of the divine interplay between the material world and the soul, where the Supreme Soul acts as the seed-giving father, while the material nature serves as the womb for all living beings. He explains how the three modes of material nature, sattva, rajas, and tamas, bind the eternal soul to the perishable body, creating the illusion of separateness and causing the soul to forget its true nature. "Arjuna," Krishna continues, "the material energy is like a vast ocean, with the three modes as its waves. These modes bind the soul, creating the illusion of identity with the body and the world. But those who rise above these modes, who see the truth of the Supreme Soul within themselves and all beings, achieve liberation. They are no longer bound by the cycles of birth and death, but instead they attain the eternal, imperishable state of union with the divine." Arjuna, deeply moved by Krishna's teachings, bows his head in reverence. "Krishna," he says, his voice filled with both humility and determination, "I understand now the importance of seeing beyond the material energy, of recognizing the Supreme Soul within myself and all beings. I will strive to transcend the modes of nature, to free myself from attachment, and to realize the truth of the eternal soul. With your guidance, I will seek liberation and union with the divine." Krishna smiles, his expression one of deep approval and love. "Arjuna," he says, "you are on the right path. Continue to seek knowledge, continue to meditate on the Supreme, and you will find the liberation you seek. Remember, I am always with you, guiding you and supporting you on your journey toward the ultimate truth. Chapter 25. Transcending the Gunas, the Path to Liberation and Union with the Divine. In the sacred discourse of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna delves into the intricate workings of the material world, revealing to Arjuna the nature of the three modes of material nature, known as the gunas. As the armies stand poised for battle, Krishna imparts this profound wisdom, offering Arjuna and all who seek the truth a deeper understanding of how these forces shape our actions, our destinies, and our journey towards liberation. Krishna, Arjuna begins, his voice tinged with curiosity and concern, you have spoken of the three gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas. How do these forces influence our lives and our spiritual progress? What impact do they have on the soul's journey? And how can one rise above them? Krishna, his gaze steady and filled with infinite wisdom, responds, Arjuna, the three modes of material nature, sattva, rajas, and tamas, are the forces that bind the soul to the material world. Each of these gunas exerts its influence, shaping the thoughts, actions, and desires of all living beings. He begins with sattva, the mode of goodness. Sattva, Arjuna, is the purest of the three gunas. It binds the soul to happiness and knowledge, leading one toward wisdom, clarity, and inner peace. Those dominated by sattva are drawn to acts of goodness and purity, seeking knowledge and understanding. However, even sattva binds the soul, as it fosters attachment to the joy and satisfaction derived from such actions. Arjuna listens closely, absorbing Krishna's words. Krishna continues, Rajas, the mode of passion, is born of desire and attachment. It compels the soul to action, driven by the pursuit of pleasure, power, and success. Those under the sway of rajas are restless, always seeking fulfillment through external achievements and material gains. This constant craving and attachment to the fruits of actions create a cycle of desire and dissatisfaction, binding the soul ever tighter to the material world. Arjuna nods, beginning to see how these modes influence the course of life. Krishna's voice deepens as he explains the third guna. Tamas, the mode of ignorance, is the darkest and most deluding of the three. It arises from negligence, laziness, and sleep, dragging the soul into a state of inertia and confusion. Those dominated by tamas are shrouded in darkness, unable to see the truth or make progress on the spiritual path. This mode binds the soul with apathy and ignorance, leading to degradation and spiritual stagnation. Krishna stops so that Arjuna might understand the true meaning of the three gunas. Arjuna, one's acts and the results they get are determined by the strength of these gunas in their lives. After death, those who primarily practice sattva, the way of virtue, will enter the abodes of the wise and the learned, which are higher, purer worlds. Rajas-ruled people, on the other hand, will always be governed by their desires and confined to the cycle of birth and death. And those who are entangled in tamas will descend into lesser realms of existence, where ignorance and illusion rule, even if they are born into the animal kingdom. Krishna, if these modes bind the soul so strongly, how can one rise above them? Questions Arjuna, who has now realized the strength of the gunas. Is it possible to become truly liberated and overcome the gunas' influence? Krishna's expression softens with compassion as he offers the key to transcendence. Arjuna, those who have transcended the three gunas are not swayed by their presence or absence. They remain neutral, seeing all things with equal vision, undisturbed by the fluctuations of the material world. These souls serve the divine with unalloyed devotion, dedicating their actions to the Supreme without attachment to the outcomes. Krishna's words illuminate the path to liberation, guiding Arjuna toward a higher understanding. Such souls, Krishna continues, are no longer bound by the gunas. They treat success and failure, pleasure and pain, honor and dishonor with the same calm detachment. Their devotion is pure, untainted by the desires and distractions of the material world. Through this unshakable devotion, they rise above the influence of the gunas and come to the level of the formless Brahman, the ultimate reality that lies beyond all dualities. Arjuna, moved by Krishna's teachings, feels a sense of clarity and purpose dawning within him. "Krishna," he says, his voice filled with determination, "I understand now that to achieve liberation I must rise above the gunas. I will strive to maintain a steady mind, free from attachment, and serve you with unwavering devotion. Guide me, Krishna, as I walk this path, seeking to transcend the forces that bind me and attain union with the Supreme." Krishna, his gaze filled with love and approval, responds, "Arjuna, your resolve is strong and your understanding is clear. Continue on this path, and you will surely transcend the gunas. With devotion and wisdom you will rise above the material nature and attain the ultimate truth, the formless Brahman, where eternal peace and liberation await." Chapter 26. The Eternal Ashvath Tree, Understanding the Supreme Divine and the Path to Liberation. In the heart of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna begins to unfold one of the most profound teachings to Arjuna, revealing the mysteries of creation, the nature of the soul, and the path to transcendence. This discourse, known as Purushottam Yoga, takes Arjuna deeper into the understanding of the eternal truths that govern existence and the ultimate reality that lies beyond the material world. "Krishna," Arjuna begins, his voice filled with reverence and curiosity, "you have guided me through many truths, but I seek to understand the nature of this universe and the path that leads beyond it. How does one find the Supreme, the ultimate source of all that is?" Krishna, his presence serene and radiant, responds with a gentle yet powerful voice. "Arjuna, imagine an eternal Ashvath tree whose roots stretch upwards into the heavens, while its branches extend downward into the material world. This tree is nourished by the three gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas, and its leaves are the sacred Vedic hymns. The branches of this tree grow both upward and downward, symbolizing the entanglement of souls in the material world, while the objects of the senses sprout like tender buds, constantly drawing beings into the cycle of desire and attachment." Arjuna listens intently, picturing the vast ancient tree that Krishna describes, its roots anchored in the divine, while its branches reach into the ever-changing world below. Krishna continues, his voice resonating with divine authority. "This tree, Arjuna, though vast and seemingly eternal, has no real form in this world. It is a reflection of the material existence, ever shifting, ever illusory. To find the true path, you must detach yourself from this tree, cut through the bonds of attachment and desire that tie you to it. Only by doing so can you seek out the Supreme Lord from whom this entire universe originated." Arjuna, moved by Krishna's words, asks, "But Krishna, how does one sever these deep roots of attachment? How does one rise above the desire to enjoy the senses and the entanglement in this material world?" Krishna's gaze is filled with compassion as he answers, "Arjuna, those who have overcome attachment, who dwell on the self and the Supreme, and who have freed themselves from the desire to indulge in the senses, are the ones who will attain my eternal abode. It is not an easy path, but it is the only way to transcend the material world and reach the ultimate truth. You must focus your mind on me, the Supreme Divine Personality, and let go of the fleeting pleasures of the world." Krishna's teachings begin to illuminate the path to liberation, guiding Arjuna toward a higher understanding of the nature of existence. "Understand this, Arjuna," Krishna continues, "I am the source of all light and nourishment in the universe. The sun, moon, and fire all derive their light from me. When the embodied soul leaves an old body and takes on a new one, it carries with it the mind and senses, like a breeze carrying the scent of flowers. I am seated in the hearts of all living beings, and it is through my presence that the senses function, that knowledge is gained, and that the soul journeys through life." Arjuna's heart swells with awe as he contemplates the magnitude of Krishna's revelation. "Krishna," he asks, "how can one come to know you as the Supreme Divine Personality? What is the nature of those who have attained this knowledge?" Krishna's voice deepens with the weight of eternal truth as he answers, Arjun, there are two kinds of beings in creation, the perishable and the imperishable. The perishable are all beings within the material realm, subject to birth, decay, and death. The imperishable are the liberated souls, those who have transcended the material world and are no longer bound by its limitations. But beyond both the perishable and the imperishable is me, the Supreme Divine Personality. I am transcendental to both the material world of matter and the imperishable soul. I am the ultimate reality, the source of all that exists, and I am celebrated as the Supreme Being. Krishna's words resonate with a truth that transcends the material world, filling Arjuna with a profound sense of reverence and clarity. Those who know me without doubt, Arjuna, Krishna continues, as the Supreme Divine Personality, have complete knowledge. They understand the nature of the universe, the soul and the divine, and they worship me with their whole being, fully devoted and free from all doubt. Arjuna, now filled with a deep understanding and an unshakable faith, bows before Krishna. Krishna, he says, his voice steady and filled with devotion, I see now that the path to true knowledge and liberation lies in recognizing you as the Supreme Divine Personality. I will dedicate my life to this understanding, to worshipping you with all my heart and soul, and to seeking the eternal truth that lies beyond the material world. Krishna smiles, his expression full of love and approval. Arjuna, your devotion and understanding are true. Continue on this path, and you will transcend the material world, cutting through the roots of the Ashvath tree and find your way to my eternal abode, where you will be united with the Supreme forever. Chapter 27. Divine and Demoniac Natures, the Path to Liberation and the Consequences of Darkness. In the hallowed dialogue of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna turns his attention to a crucial distinction that defines the paths to liberation and bondage. As Arjuna listens with unwavering focus, Krishna begins to reveal the nature of divine and demoniac qualities, shedding light on the virtues that elevate the soul and the vices that lead to spiritual downfall. Krishna, Arjuna inquires, his voice filled with a deep desire to understand, you have spoken of many paths and truths, but how can one discern the qualities that lead to liberation from those that bind the soul in the cycle of birth and death? What are the characteristics of those who walk the righteous path compared to those who stray into darkness? Krishna, his presence radiant with divine authority, begins to explain with a voice both compassionate and firm. Arjuna, the qualities that lead to liberation are the divine qualities, born of a pure heart and a clear mind. These virtues are described in the Vedic scriptures and are the foundation of a life dedicated to spiritual growth and righteousness. He lists these qualities, each word resonating with the essence of truth. Fearlessness, purity of mind, steadfastness in spiritual knowledge and practice, charity, self-control, sacrifice, study of the scriptures, austerity and straightforwardness. These are the virtues of the divine nature. They include non-violence, truthfulness, absence of anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion to fault-finding, compassion, absence of greed, gentleness, modesty, absence of envy, and forgiveness. Those who cultivate these qualities are walking the path of liberation, leading their souls closer to the divine and ultimately to freedom from the cycle of birth and death. Arjuna, absorbing these profound teachings, feels a sense of clarity and purpose. Krishna, he asks, what of those who do not follow these virtues? What are the consequences of living a life devoid of these divine qualities? Krishna's gaze turns solemn as he describes the demoniac nature. Arjuna, those who possess the demoniac qualities are bound by ignorance and falsehood, hypocrisy, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, and ignorance. These are the traits of those who are driven by darkness. They lack the understanding of proper actions, and their lives are devoid of purity, good conduct, and truthfulness. Such individuals deny the existence of the absolute truth, the moral order, and even God himself. As Krishna speaks, his words reveal the stark contrast between the paths of light and darkness. Those with a demoniac nature are driven by endless desires, anxieties, and the pursuit of material pleasures. They see the world as chaotic, without any higher purpose or divine order. Their minds are consumed by greed, and they engage in actions that lead to their own destruction and the suffering of others. They are trapped in the bondage of their own making, spiraling deeper into darkness with every step they take. Arjuna, troubled by this revelation, asks, "Krishna, what becomes of those who are ensnared by these demoniac qualities? Is there no hope for them to find redemption?" Krishna's voice softens with a note of compassion, yet remains firm in the truth. "Arjuna, those who embrace the demoniac nature walk a perilous path. They are reborn again and again in lower forms of life, trapped in the cycle of birth and death, unable to break free from their bondage. They lack the insight to see the consequences of their actions, and their lives are marked by suffering and delusion. However, even for those bound by darkness, there is always a glimmer of hope. If they turn their hearts toward the light, if they seek to understand the divine truth and renounce their destructive ways, they too can find redemption." Krishna pauses, allowing his words to settle in Arjuna's heart before continuing. "The choice, Arjuna, lies within each soul. Those who cultivate divine qualities, who live with righteousness, and who dedicate their lives to the service of the divine, will rise above the material world and attain liberation. But those who give in to the demoniac qualities will remain ensnared in the material world, bound by their desires and illusions." Arjuna, his heart now filled with both understanding and determination, says, "Krishna, I see now the importance of cultivating divine qualities and avoiding the path of darkness. I will strive to embody the virtues you have described, to live a life of righteousness and devotion, and to help others do the same. With your guidance, I will walk the path of light, leading my soul closer to liberation." Krishna, his expression full of approval and love, responds, "Arjuna, your resolve is true, and your heart is in the right place. Continue on this path, and you will find the peace and liberation you seek. Remember, I am always with you, guiding you and supporting you as you cultivate the divine qualities within yourself. Through your devotion and dedication, you will rise above the material world and come to know the supreme truth." Chapter 28. Faith and its Influence. Understanding the three modes of nature. In the profound dialogue of the Bhagavad Gita, as the teachings of Krishna continue to illuminate the path of spiritual wisdom, Arjuna's curiosity deepens. He seeks to understand the nature of faith, particularly for those who may not strictly adhere to scriptural injunctions, yet hold their own beliefs. What follows is a discussion that delves into the very essence of human nature, faith, and the consequences of our actions. "Krishna," Arjuna begins, his voice thoughtful and probing, "I have encountered many who, though they may disregard the teachings of the scriptures, still hold strong beliefs. What is the nature of their faith? How does it influence their lives and actions? Can such faith be true, or is it misguided?" Krishna, ever patient and wise, responds with a gentle yet profound tone. "Arjuna, understand that every human being is born with innate faith. This faith is not uniform but varies in nature, shaped by the three modes of material nature: sattva, goodness; rajas, passion; and tamas, ignorance. The nature of one's faith is a reflection of their inner disposition and influences all aspects of their life, including their actions, choices, and preferences." Arjuna listens intently, eager to grasp the subtle distinctions that Krishna is about to unfold. Krishna continues, "Those who are predominantly in the mode of goodness or sattva naturally incline towards worshipping the celestial gods, seeking purity, and adhering to the teachings of the scriptures. Their faith leads them to act in harmony with divine principles, and they find joy in knowledge, tranquility, and spiritual growth." Arjuna nods, understanding that sattvic faith aligns closely with righteousness and spiritual wisdom. But his curiosity drives him further. "Krishna, what about those who are driven by passion or ignorance? How does their faith manifest in their actions and lives?" Krishna's gaze deepens as he explains, "Those in the mode of passion or rajas are driven by desire, ambition, and the pursuit of material pleasures. Their faith is reflected in their choices, such as the foods they prefer, spicy, salty and rich, foods that stimulate the senses but also cause pain, distress and disease. They are often drawn to rituals and sacrifices that promise material rewards, performing them with an eye on the outcomes rather than as acts of devotion. Arjuna absorbs this, realizing that faith influenced by passion often leads to restlessness and dissatisfaction, as it is rooted in the temporary and the transient. Krishna then turns to the mode of ignorance, or tamas. Those in the mode of ignorance, Arjuna, are bound by darkness, confusion and inertia. Their faith is misdirected, leading them to prefer foods that are overcooked, stale, putrid and impure, foods that dull the mind and body. They may engage in sacrifices, but these are performed without understanding, often with indifference or even cruelty, and without any regard for the true purpose of the act. Arjuna, now seeing the full spectrum of how faith manifests, asks, Krishna, what of the sacrifices and rituals that people perform? How do these modes influence the nature and outcome of such acts? Krishna's expression softens with the wisdom of ages as he replies, Arjuna, sacrifices performed in accordance with scriptural injunctions, done with sincerity, and without any expectation of reward, are in the mode of goodness. These sacrifices purify the heart and lead one closer to the divine. However, sacrifices performed with the intent of gaining something material or with selfish motives fall under the mode of passion. They may bring temporary rewards, but bind the soul more deeply to the cycle of desire and attachment. Krishna waits for Arjuna to completely understand the ramifications of his actions before moving on. Even worse, the sacrifices are made in a state of ignorance, devoid of any regard, faith, or comprehension. Such deeds have little spiritual value, are frequently hurtful, and are hollow. Rather, they merely serve to increase the soul's immersion in ignorance's blackness. Inspired by the lucidity of Krishna's teachings, Arjuna muses on the essence of religion and the significance of conducting oneself in accordance with the greatest ideals. Krishna, he declares, his conviction evident in his voice, I realize that faith is a strong force that influences all part of our life. Believing alone is insufficient. One must make sure their faith is grounded in morality and pointed toward the divine. I shall endeavor to follow the will of God, practice sattvic faith, and carry out my responsibilities with honesty. With compassion and acceptance in his eyes, Krishna smiles. Arjuna, you understand well. Never forget that your religion dictates the kind of route you take. Select the straight path of virtue. Allow wisdom to lead your faith, and emancipation will come of its own accord. You will be able to overcome the effects of ignorance and passion in this way, and you will find contentment and serenity in serving the holy. Chapter 29. Austerity, Charity and Renunciation, the Path to Purity and Divine Union. In the unfolding teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna continues to guide Arjuna through the intricate paths of spiritual discipline and wisdom. As the dialogue deepens, Krishna delves into the profound concepts of austerity, charity and renunciation, illuminating their significance and the different forms they take under the influence of the three modes of material nature, goodness, passion and ignorance. Krishna, Arjuna begins, his voice filled with earnest curiosity. You have spoken of the importance of discipline and self-control, but I wish to understand more about the practice of austerities. How do these practices differ when influenced by the different modes of nature, and how can one ensure that their actions are truly virtuous? Krishna, his voice filled with the calm authority of divine wisdom, begins to explain, Arjuna, austerities are a vital part of spiritual practice, purifying the body, speech, and mind. However, like all actions, their nature and impact depend on the mode under which they are performed. He starts by describing the austerities of the body. Austerities of the body, Arjuna, are achieved through practices that uphold cleanliness, simplicity, celibacy, and non-violence. These physical disciplines, when performed with sincerity and without expectation of reward, are in the mode of goodness. They elevate the soul and bring one closer to the divine. Arjuna listens intently as Krishna continues to unravel the layers of austerity, moving on to the austerities of speech. The austerities of speech involve using words that are truthful, inoffensive, and beneficial to others. Regular recitation of the Vedic scriptures is also considered an austerity of speech. These practices, rooted in truth and compassion, reflect the mode of goodness, guiding the soul toward righteousness. Krishna then touches on the austerities of the mind. Mental austerities include serenity of thought, gentleness, silence, self-control, and purity of purpose. When the mind is disciplined in this way, free from selfish desires and filled with noble intentions, it aligns with the mode of goodness, fostering inner peace and spiritual growth. Arjuna, grasping the essence of these teachings, asks, Krishna, what of those who perform austerities with different intentions? How do these practices manifest under the modes of passion and ignorance? Krishna's gaze deepens as he addresses this critical question. Arjuna, austerities performed with the desire for honor, recognition, or material gain fall under the mode of passion. Though these actions may appear virtuous on the surface, they are tainted by selfish motives and do not lead to true spiritual progress. They bind the soul to the cycle of desire and attachment rather than freeing it. He continues, worse still are the austerities performed in the mode of ignorance, those carried out with harm to oneself or others, or those done out of superstition or stubbornness. Such actions are misguided and destructive, leading the soul further into darkness and delusion. Arjuna reflects on these words, understanding the need to purify his intentions and align his actions with the highest principles. Krishna, he asks, what about the practice of charity? How does it vary under these modes, and how can one ensure that their giving is truly virtuous? Krishna's expression softens with compassion as he explains, charity, like austerity, is an essential act of virtue, but its value depends on the mode in which it is given. Charity given selflessly, at the right time and place, to a worthy person, and without any expectation of return, is in the mode of goodness. This kind of giving purifies the heart and leads to spiritual growth. He then contrasts this with the other modes. Charity given with the expectation of something in return, or out of a desire for recognition, is in the mode of passion. It does not bring the same spiritual benefits, and instead fosters attachment and ego. Charity given in the mode of ignorance is done without respect or concern for the recipient's needs, or at an inappropriate time and place. Such charity is not only ineffective, but also harmful. Krishna's teachings resonate deeply within Arjuna, who begins to see the intricate web of intentions and outcomes that define human actions. Seeking further clarity, Arjuna asks, Krishna, you have also spoken of the importance of renunciation. How does one truly practice renunciation, and what is its role in spiritual life? Krishna's voice takes on a tone of solemnity as he reveals the essence of renunciation. Arjuna, true renunciation involves giving up actions that are motivated by selfish desires and relinquishing attachment to the fruits of all actions. However, acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance should never be abandoned. These acts are purifying, even for the wise, and contribute to the upliftment of the soul. The key is to perform these actions without any expectation of reward, dedicating them to the divine. He adds, the sacred syllables Om Tat Sat represent the supreme absolute truth and are essential during acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance. These syllables sanctify the actions, ensuring that they are aligned with the highest spiritual principles. Arjuna, filled with a deep sense of understanding and reverence, responds, Krishna, I see now that the purity of intention is what elevates our actions and leads to true spiritual progress. I will strive to perform all my duties, sacrifices, and acts of charity with a pure heart, free from selfish desires and dedicated to the divine. Krishna, his eyes filled with approval and infinite love, replies, Arjuna, your resolve is true. Continue on this path, and you will find the peace and liberation you seek. Remember, true renunciation is not about abandoning the world, but about letting go of attachment and acting with a heart full of devotion. In this way you will rise above the modes of nature and attain union with the Supreme. Chapter 30. Understanding True Renunciation, the 5 Factors of Action and the Path to Liberation. In the sacred dialogue of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna continues to guide Arjuna through the profound complexities of life and action, delving into the nature of renunciation, the factors that contribute to action, and the subtle distinctions that define how these actions bind or liberate the soul. As the teachings unfold, Arjuna listens with rapt attention, eager to absorb every word. He understands that mastering these concepts is key to navigating the challenges that lie ahead, both on the battlefield of Kurukshetra and in the broader journey of life. Krishna, Arjuna begins, his voice filled with earnest inquiry, "You have spoken of the importance of performing one's duties, but I wish to understand more about renunciation. How can one truly renounce while still fulfilling their responsibilities? What does it mean to give up attachment to the fruits of action?" Krishna, ever patient and wise, responds with a voice that carries the weight of eternal truth. "Arjuna, true renunciation is not about abandoning your duties or responsibilities. It is about performing them with a heart free from attachment to the results. Prescribed duties, especially those aligned with righteousness and the greater good, should never be abandoned. To give up duties out of discomfort or a desire to avoid trouble is not true renunciation. It is renunciation in the mode of passion, driven by self-interest." Arjuna nods, beginning to see that renunciation is a matter of the heart and mind rather than a withdrawal from life's responsibilities. Krishna continues, "True renunciation, Arjuna, is when you perform your duties without being attached to their outcomes. You act with dedication, but you remain unattached to success or failure, praise or criticism. This is renunciation in the mode of goodness, which purifies the soul and leads to liberation." Krishna then introduces the concept of the 5 factors that contribute to all actions, a profound teaching that reveals the interconnectedness of life and the divine forces at play. "Arjuna," Krishna explains, "every action has 5 contributing factors: the body, the doer, which is the soul, the senses, the efforts made, and divine providence. These 5 factors work together to bring about any action. Understanding these factors is crucial, for when you recognize that it is not solely you, the doer, who is responsible for the outcome, you begin to free yourself from the ego of being the sole agent." Arjuna listens closely, realizing the profound implications of this teaching. "Krishna, if all actions are influenced by these 5 factors, how does one avoid becoming bound by them? How can one act without being entangled in the results?" Krishna's gaze softens as he provides clarity. "Arjuna, those who understand these 5 factors and are free from the ego of being the doer are not bound by their actions. They see that while they must act, they are but one part of a larger divine process. When you act with this understanding, with knowledge of the interconnectedness of all things and without attachment, you are not entangled in the web of karma." He continues, "Knowledge, the object of knowledge, and the knower. These are the 3 factors that induce action. Actions themselves are distinguished according to the 3 modes of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. The mode in which you act determines the nature of your actions and their effects on your soul." Arjuna, keen to grasp the nuances of these modes, asks, "Krishna, how do these modes influence our actions? What are the characteristics of actions performed in goodness, passion, and ignorance?" Krishna, his voice resonating with the wisdom of ages, replies, "Arjuna, actions in the mode of goodness are characterized by seeing one undivided reality within all living beings. Those who act in goodness perform their duties according to scriptural injunctions, with purity of heart and mind. They are free from attachment and desire for rewards, seeing the unity and diversity and acting for the welfare of all." He contrasts this with the mode of passion. Actions in the mode of passion, however, are driven by selfish desire and the pursuit of personal gain. Those who act in this mode see the world as a collection of separate, unconnected entities, and their actions are influenced by the dualities of joy and sorrow. They are deeply attached to the fruits of their actions, which binds them to the cycle of birth and death. Krishna's tone grows more serious as he describes the mode of ignorance. Arjuna, actions performed in the mode of ignorance are the most destructive. These actions are undertaken out of delusion, without understanding the consequences, and often result in harm to oneself and others. Those who act in ignorance are engrossed in a fragmented concept of reality, disregarding loss, injury, and the greater good. Arjuna, reflecting on these teachings, begins to see the profound responsibility that comes with understanding and choosing how to act. "Krishna," he says, his voice filled with determination, "I understand now that the true path lies in performing my duties with knowledge and detachment, guided by the principles of goodness. I will strive to act without attachment, seeing the unity in all things and dedicating my actions to the divine." Krishna, his expression full of approval and love, responds, "Arjuna, your resolve is noble and true. By acting in the mode of goodness, free from attachment, and with a heart dedicated to the Supreme, you will transcend the dualities of this world and move closer to liberation. Remember, true renunciation is not the abandonment of action, but the relinquishment of attachment to the fruits of action. In this way, you will achieve the highest knowledge and fulfill your dharma." Chapter 31. Duty and Happiness. Navigating the Three Modes of Nature. As the wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita gradually reveals itself, Krishna continues to mentor Arjuna through the maze of obstacles that life presents, providing profound understandings of responsibility, happiness, and the workings of the three modes of material nature: ignorance, passion, and goodness. Arjuna finds these lessons to be a guiding light as the Kurukshetra battle approaches, assisting him in navigating the intricate relationship between action and spiritual development. Arjuna starts, "Krishna," his voice reflective, "you have talked about duty and the significance of carrying out one's responsibilities, but how do these obligations connect to the laws of nature? When the journey is so onerous, how can one find true happiness in carrying out their duties?" Krishna answers with a compassionate voice, constantly understanding and patient. "Goodness, desire, and ignorance are the three aspects of nature that have a great influence on the tasks you do and the happiness you pursue, Arjuna. Your actions, as well as how you perceive right and wrong and what constitutes happiness, are all influenced by these modes." He begins by explaining the nature of the intellect and willpower. Arjuna, the intellect can sometimes become confused, leading you to make incorrect distinctions between what is right and what is wrong. This confusion often stems from being under the sway of the lower modes of nature. To overcome this, you must develop steadfast willpower, rooted in the mode of goodness, which will guide you to discern the truth and act according to righteousness. Arjuna listens closely, recognizing the importance of cultivating a clear and disciplined mind. Krishna continues, shifting the focus to the concept of happiness. "There are three types of happiness, Arjuna, each corresponding to the three modes of nature. Happiness in the mode of goodness is like a bitter medicine. It is initially unpleasant, requiring discipline, effort, and self-restraint. But in the end, it leads to self-knowledge, enlightenment, and true inner peace. This is the happiness that comes from understanding and realizing the self beyond the temporary pleasures of the world." Arjuna nods, understanding that true happiness often requires sacrifice and perseverance. "And what of the other types of happiness, Krishna?" he asks, eager to comprehend the full spectrum. Krishna's tone deepens as he describes the other modes. Happiness in the mode of passion is derived from sensory pleasures, the joy that comes from indulging in desires, from the thrill of success, or the gratification of the senses. It is sweet in the beginning, but it ultimately leads to suffering, for it is fleeting and leaves the soul wanting more. Such happiness binds you to the cycle of desire and attachment, and in the end, it brings more sorrow than joy. Arjuna reflects on this, recognizing how often he has been drawn to the allure of immediate gratification, only to be left feeling empty afterward. Krishna then addresses the lowest mode. "Happiness in the mode of ignorance is the most deluding. It arises from sleep, indolence, and negligence. Those moments when you are lost in inertia, avoiding your duties, and seeking refuge in ignorance. This happiness is the most deceptive, for it brings no real joy, only further binds the soul in darkness and delusion. Arjuna feels a deep understanding growing within him as Krishna's words resonate with the truth of his own experiences. Krishna, he asks, how do these modes influence our duties? How can one rise above the lower modes and perform their duties in a way that leads to true fulfillment? Krishna's gaze is steady, filled with both love and wisdom as he answers, Arjuna, every living being is influenced by these modes, and your natural duties are determined by the qualities that are predominant within you, not by birth, but by your inherent nature. To attain perfection, you must fulfill your natural duties, for it is through these that you worship the Creator and align yourself with the divine will. He continues, performing your own duty, even if it is imperfect, is better than performing another's duty perfectly. Your duty is your path, tailored to your nature, and it is through embracing it that you grow and evolve. Do not be swayed by the allure of what seems easier or more rewarding in the short term. True perfection comes from dedication to your own path, from the cessation of actions motivated by desire and by being firmly fixed in transcendental knowledge. Arjuna, moved by Krishna's guidance, begins to see the importance of embracing his own path, no matter how difficult it may seem. Krishna, he says with determination, I will strive to fulfill my duties, to rise above the lower modes, and to seek happiness that is rooted in goodness. I see now that true fulfillment comes from following my own path and dedicating my actions to the divine. Krishna smiles, his expression full of approval and divine love. Arjuna, your resolve is noble. Remember that by performing your duties with detachment, free from selfish desires, and by cultivating the knowledge of the self, you will rise above the modes of nature. You will attain perfection and move closer to the Supreme. This is the path to liberation, where you will find eternal peace and union with the divine. Chapter 32. The Path to Union with the Absolute, Devotion, Purity, and the Sacred Duty of Knowledge. In the sacred dialogue of the Bhagavad Gita, as the teachings unfold in the midst of the battlefield, Krishna imparts wisdom to Arjuna that transcends the immediate conflict, guiding him toward the eternal truths that lie at the heart of existence. This chapter reveals the qualities and actions that align a person with the absolute truth, known as Brahman, and offers the path to ultimate peace and liberation. Krishna, Arjuna begins, his voice filled with reverence and a deep longing to understand, you have revealed so much to me, guiding me through the complexities of duty, action, and the modes of nature. But now I wish to know what are the qualities and actions of a person who is truly fit for union with the absolute truth. How can one attain this supreme state of being? Krishna, his presence radiating divine serenity, responds with a voice that is both gentle and profound. Arjuna, the path to union with the absolute truth, with Brahman, is not an easy one, but it is attainable for those who are dedicated and pure in heart. A person who is fit for such union must abandon attachment to sensory objects, for these objects only bind the soul to the material world. Through the practice of dispassion, one becomes free from the desires that lead to suffering. Krishna's words begin to paint a picture of the ideal seeker, one who has transcended the limitations of worldly desires. This person, he continues, is free from egotism, the false sense of self that separates the individual from the divine. They are also free from violence, arrogance, and selfishness, which are the roots of conflict and disharmony. Instead, they cultivate a mental serenity, a calmness that is unshaken by the turmoil of the world, and they devote themselves fully to me. Arjuna listens closely, his heart and mind open to the wisdom being shared. Krishna, he asks, how does one cultivate such devotion? How does loving devotion lead to the realization of the absolute truth? Krishna's gaze softens with compassion as he explains, Arjuna, loving devotion, bhakti, is the key to knowing the absolute truth. It is through pure, unalloyed devotion that one comes to truly know me and the nature of Brahman. When your heart is fully surrendered, when every thought, word, and action is dedicated to me, You transcend the ego and the limitations of the material world. It is in this state of surrender that you attain perfect peace and the eternal abode, where you are united with the divine forever. Arjuna, moved by the clarity of Krishna's words, feels a deep sense of purpose and direction. "Krishna," he says with conviction, "I will dedicate my every action to you, surrendering myself fully to your divine will. I see now that it is only through this path of devotion that I can attain the highest truth and the ultimate peace." Krishna smiles, his expression full of love and approval. "Arjuna, your resolve is true. Remember that those who surrender to me, dedicating their every activity to my service, will indeed attain the supreme state of being. They will rise above the illusions of the world and find eternal refuge in my presence." Krishna then shifts his tone, offering a solemn warning. "However, Arjuna, this knowledge I have shared with you is sacred. It is not to be spoken to those who are not austere, who are not devoted, or who are closed to spiritual understanding. This wisdom is for those who are ready to receive it, for those who have the purity of heart and mind to understand its depth and significance." He continues, emphasizing the importance of this teaching. Those who study and teach this sacred dialogue, who share these eternal truths with others in the right spirit, are performing a great service. They are most dear to me, for they are spreading the light of knowledge and guiding others toward the path of liberation. Such teachers and students are blessed, and they will attain the highest realms of existence. Arjuna, understanding the gravity of Krishna's words, bows his head in respect. "Krishna," he says, "I will honor this knowledge and share it only with those who are worthy. I see now the importance of wisdom and devotion in attaining the absolute truth, and I am committed to following this path with all my heart." Krishna, his expression serene and filled with divine grace, concludes, "Arjuna, you have understood well. Walk this path with faith and devotion, and you will surely attain the supreme truth. Remember, the path to Brahman is one of dedication, purity, and unwavering love. Through this, you will find the eternal peace that lies beyond the transient world." Chapter 33. Sanjay's Reverence, the Sacred Dialogue and the Triumph of Righteousness. In the sacred narrative of the Bhagavad Gita, the dialogue between Lord Krishna and Arjuna is recounted by Sanjay, who has been granted divine vision to witness and narrate the events unfolding on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. As Sanjay reflects on the profound conversation between the Supreme Lord and the valiant warrior, he is overcome with awe, reverence, and a deep sense of joy. Sanjay begins to speak, his voice filled with a blend of astonishment and gratitude. "O King Dhritarashtra, what I have witnessed today is beyond anything I could have ever imagined. The dialogue between Lord Krishna and Arjuna is not merely a conversation. It is a revelation of the deepest truths of existence, a supreme and secretive yoga taught by the Lord of Yoga himself." He pauses as if reliving the moment, his heart swelling with the memory of the divine exchange. "As I recount this sacred dialogue, I am filled with unending joy and wonder. Every word spoken by Krishna, every question posed by Arjuna, resonates with the essence of truth and the wisdom of the ages. The teachings of Krishna are like a beacon of light, guiding not just Arjuna, but all of humanity toward the path of righteousness and liberation." Sanjay says, "And how can I forget the moment when Krishna revealed his cosmic form to Arjuna? His eyes shine with the light of divine realization. A vision that will stay carved in my soul for all eternity is the sight of the cosmos enclosed within the body of the Supreme Lord, the past, present, and future, all woven into the fabric of his being. It serves as a reminder of Krishna's omnipotence and grandeur, who is the source and the culmination of all things." Sanjay's voice quivers with passion as he talks, expressing the deep effect the vision has had on him. "O King, there is an endless feeling of luxury, triumph, wealth, and righteousness when Krishna and Arjuna are on this battlefield. How could Arjuna's just war be anything but a success with Krishna, the Almighty, leading the way? Their marriage is the perfect example of both human bravery and divine intent, and it gives me hope for the future." He pauses once again, his voice growing softer as he considers the gravity of what he has seen. The biggest gift of my life is that I got to see this holy conversation. As I tell it, I can't help but feel ecstatic, because it's more than just a tale. It's a living truth that will continue to uplift and direct countless individuals on their path to the divine. Sanjay's words are filled with reverence as he concludes, "O King, know this. As long as Krishna and Arjuna stand together, there can be no defeat, no despair. They are the embodiment of dharma, and their actions will bring about the triumph of righteousness. In their presence, the world is blessed, and the path to salvation is illuminated for all who seek it."